think it's going to be a big game. I've been looking forward to it for a while, but, I got to go, man. See you. Hey, guys. What up? I'm Jay, and we're going to be doing this thing today where we do a little streamage, and then we talk about the game, and then we do a little streamage, and then we talk about the game. We've got the Auburn Tigers at the Kentucky Wildcats today inside Rupp Arena, named after legendary Kentucky coach Adolph Rupp, who may have been a bad guy. I hate to break it to you. Neville Arena, not named after bad people. So that's another one right there that Auburn has going in its favor. Anyway, my name's Jay Tate. I am publisher/Commodore at auburnsports.com. I have been covering Auburn since 1998 nonstop every day of my professional life. But as some of you know, I am indeed a graduate of the University of Kentucky, class of 98. I got a graduate degree there. I also have a degree from Transylvania University, which is just a few blocks up from Rupp Arena. But I have long ago walked away from any allegiance I have to the University of Kentucky. I've never given them $1, although I don't hate them or anything. But, guys, come on. It does get me excited to see Auburn play them, and I've been to many games where I've covered Auburn and Rupp Arena, and they've all been L's for the Auburn Tigers. Today, I don't know, guys. Today, I think the Auburn Tigers come in for the first time in my lifetime, well, my professional lifetime, with a better roster than Kentucky, and Kentucky's going to be without Jackson Robinson today, who is a very important player for them. So this is going to be big. Auburn, of course, fully powered for this one. Chad is fine. I think he's been fine the whole time. Janai Broom, we know he's been dealing with some low ankle issues, but the last, couple weeks, we felt like he's been pretty dang good. So particularly in the last game, he was outstanding. Last two games, really. Let's go ahead and bounce over to our main page where we talk about things and discuss things. Feel like a stranger jumps in with a super chat because that is what he is. He's a bad man. Just word up, much love, Drainers, Swoogans, and Tates. Tahad, big game, Hod time, make history. Tahad, Pettiford, Auburn's outstanding combo guard, a lot of times point guard. As we know, plays his best games on the road. Pressure situations on the road just seem to really get him going. And I don't know why it says freeform there. We'll just let that. That's what we'll think about the Missouri-Kentucky game, I guess. GW, what are you doing with the Raiders, bro? Feel like a stranger. Appreciate you, bro. Always here to support us and always hanging out, one of the pillars of our community. And it would be sweet, very, very sweet to see Tahad have another great game on the road against a quality opponent like the UK Wildcats. Of course, Auburn ranked number 1 right now, and the UK Wildcats ranked, I think, 17 or so. But as you look at their schedule here, you can see they haven't won more than 2 games in a row in a long time. It was middle December, even though it doesn't show on here. I'm just showing their SEC work. But, yeah, this would be absolutely clutch. Now, Auburn is in a very good position to win the regular season title. As we showed last week or the other day on our show, a win in Rupp Arena today and a Alabama loss at Tennessee, which seems at least possible, if not probable, would clinch it for the Auburn Tigers because the Florida Gators would be too far back to even catch them, I believe. I am not a mathematician. I am but a sports writer. Daniel D jumps in with a super chat. Got to get some sound. Says, sucks that Freeze has prostate cancer. Yes, I think we can all get behind that one. Word broke late yesterday afternoon that Hugh Freeze has been diagnosed with very early. He's been diagnosed with testicular cancer. It was caught very early. No, prostate cancer, excuse me. It was caught very early, and he's going to start treatment here soon. And the general thought is that it was caught so early that some treatment, some chemotherapy, maybe some cyberknife action would get him good to go. We've been talking about it a bunch on our message board at auburnsports.com, The Bunker. And a lot of people sharing some of their own personal experiences with prostate cancer and others sharing the experiences of fathers, grandfathers who have gone through it. I haven't heard anything yet from women who've gone through that, but, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just a function of, small sample size or whatever. But we're hoping for the absolute best for Hugh Freeze. I've put up a few for him in the last 12 hours, and I would strongly suggest, or I would encourage you guys to do that as well if you are so inclined. T Park jumps in with another super chat. This guy, I'm telling you,
super chat.
coming in from the greater Atlanta area, says cheers to a Bruce getting that dub for my birthday. There he is. T Park's turning 25 today. Just kidding. He's a little older than that. But, yeah, a dub today inside Rupp Arena would be great for just about everybody. At least the people watching this stream, anyway. Nick A. is here with us. Nick, and, of course, his outstanding wifey, Tiffany. We made a special exception for her the other day because sometimes girls named Tiffany are quality. That has not been my experience personally. I have not met a lot of Tiffany's. Revenge jumps in with a super chat. My man, this guy, absolute stud. He had a tough one last night, though, when his Celtics were talking all that smack when they were up like 25 on the Cavaliers and then lost to the Cavaliers at home. You hate to see it. He says, what up, fam? Can't catch the game or the drain due to work. Hope to catch up a little bit later. War damn Eagle. We love Revenge. This guy is out here working hard. And I don't want to go into detail about what Revenge does for his job, but I'm going to tell you, hear me now, listen to me later. What he does is very important for his community, and if he weren't there to do it, it would be very, very bad. So in that sense, Revenge is a hero, and although we will miss him on the show today, we respect him greatly, and I'm glad that he's out there doing what he's going to be doing instead of hanging out with us and drinking on the show. Man, we've got some of my all-time favorite chatters on here with us tonight. Spicy P is with us. You guys know how I feel about Ephesians. I don't know about GW as much, but Terrence is here. T-Roy Tiger. Just absolute legends here in the chat. This is going to be great. I cannot wait. By the way, I had like basically the new version of Scholastic Sports America on my TV prior to this game going live, which I haven't seen yet. So we should be just moments away from a tip here. I don't understand. GW says, JGT is lying. He said breakfast at Tiffany's more than once. Breakfast at Tiffany's, she said, I think I remember the film. Oh, yeah. The Ambitious Engineer is here with us as well. Brent S. says, well, this will be a good game. That's my guy right there. I cannot wait for this one. T-Roy says, this 30-minute infomercial has convinced me I'm not buying this mattress. That's probably a good choice. I have a good story to tell you about my back hurting, and recently I've been having some back problems, which I don't usually have for very long, and I've had it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was certain that it was my mattress, but if I eyeballed it, it looked good. So I spent like the last 2 weeks trying to figure out, T-Roy Tiger, like what could be doing this to my back, and I figured out what it was. It was me fucking up. My Tesla's got a little bit of a creak in the driver's seat. If you know, like when you move around, sometimes it does it. And I was moving my back to try to make it squeak because I'm a glutton for punishment. And in so doing, I was making my hips move in a way that kept straining it over and over again. Can you believe how much of a dumbass I am? Unbelievable. If I had been an Auburn graduate instead of a Kentucky graduate, I would have figured that out a lot sooner than I would have. But shit, Troy graduate, even for that. Nothing worse than a UK graduate, I'm telling you. There he is, my man, Mr. M. I'm just going to call him that. Draining from the baseball field, watching the boy play a double header. My man, Mr. M is an absolute legend in our family anyway. And glad to have you with us here. Janai Broom, getting some TV time here. Also, super chat coming through from Shane H. Last name redacted. Just kidding. It's right there on the screen. Yo, JG, let's get that first dub and Rupp in a quarter century. Has it really been that long? Hell yeah, of course it's been that long. It's more than that, right? 88? God, I'm so old, bro. Interestingly, in 1988, I even though I later went to Kentucky, I was a Louisville fan. My parents were they're from Louisville, and they met at University of Louisville, and so I kind of didn't like Kentucky back in the day. Well, I was okay with them. I had family members that were UK fans, but I was definitely a Louisville person, so I wasn't paying attention to anything they were doing. Look at all those notes on that dry erase board. That's pretty rad. I have never interviewed a player in a visiting locker room inside Rupp Arena. That's true. I have done interviews in the home locker room. Let's see. Solo Tigre says, I'm so amped. Another one of my favorite chatters in here. I am so amped I can hardly stand it. The Rupp curse is broken by BP today. This will be great. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Solo, and I know it's something you would agree with, the Auburn Tigers, for the first time in my professional life, are going to Rupp Arena with a better roster than UK. So, in a sense, that really changes the dynamic, I think, a little bit of what you would expect from this one. I still think me and Caleb were talking on the rundown yesterday. Excuse me, that I just need to see it before I believe it. Right. So even though my eyes tell me that Auburn's going to win this game by 6 or 8 points, I just have gone into Rupp Arena feeling like Auburn could win the game and then have my views crushed. And I just wish that I would just like to see a win in there first before you know what I mean? Detlef Shrimp says we must win at Rupp today. If Detlef says it, then by God, it's going to happen. And Chip Chip says, as a tip of the hat to the Hornatius, hate the Cats. I feel like this is the perfect time for him to show up, and he hasn't done it yet. Listen to this. This is a little bit of a look at me post. I'll be in and out due to ongoing fried seafood with the family for my birthday was yesterday. The Lighthouse in Irvington, Alabama is the place. Crab claws, the size of chicken wings. Chip, Chip, happy birthday to you, sir. A happy 35th to you. And it's a little weird because your wife's, I think, late 20s. But it's fine. I'm not judging. All right, here we go, guys. It's going to be that time. This one's been circled for me for a long time. I really want to see this one. And I really want to see Auburn Tigers play some great basketball, as they often do. By the way, we've got Stolte in the arena tonight, or today, I should say. He probably won't be there tonight. So that's our representation inside Rupp Arena. All right, so we've got our usual, gotta get my head up here, usual staffing situation. You do have Chad starting over Semo, which you would expect if he's healthy and everything's good. And we're going to kick it off with a Miles Kelly from the Scotty Pullman corner. Gets Auburn on the board. Owe, number 00, who has the ball right now, had an amazing game with spurred Kentucky to a victory at Oklahoma the other night. He is an Oklahoma transfer, and he went absolutely off in the second half of that game. A fortuitous bounce for UK, and they get a bucket there. So I think he would definitely be a guy to keep a very close eye on. Lamont Butler, their point guard, who transferred in from San Diego State, is also a very good player. He's been out most of, I guess, the last 2-3 weeks with a shoulder injury. He came back for the Oklahoma game, and then he's allegedly good to go for this one too. Janai gets a ball stolen from him in his first possession in the paint. It's not great. Kind of odd. I don't watch a lot of Kentucky basketball, honestly. The pacing of their offense looks weird to me. It's almost like if you're a drummer, it's like you're in 3/4 time or something. I don't know. It's only 2 possessions, though. Maybe I'm missing something. Let's see. Chip Chip says, not often do I get treated to fried seafood against my will. Wanted to watch the game. That sounds good. All right, so got the splash from Miles Kelly to open the game, and then 2 kind of empty possessions for the Auburn Tigers on attack. Kentucky got a nice little cut, flex cut into the paint, got the ball to him, and then he just missed it. Dylan was on his back. He was on his back legally, threatening the block, and I think that was enough to get a terrible shot. Miles Kelly gets his second shot of the game, and it's way off. Denver Jones misses as well. Kind of chilly. Interesting. We've got 2.5 minutes of basically unabated play, no fouls, no ball out, anything. Just kind of going. God, it's such a weird pace to this. Kentucky attack just looks weird to me. got to try to figure out why it looks that way to me. Looked like a little roll cut for Owe there to get a free look at the bucket. That's something that Auburn doesn't give up many of those. That's a foul. Denver rolling the right over Janai on that rolling screen, and just got hit on the back. Sweet little pass right there for Kentucky. Let's see what else is going on here. Small Victory says, my digital antenna is way ahead, so I won't spoil anything, or I might flip the ESPN app, so tune in. Who was it that was Kanuman the other day that was killing us? Because he was so far ahead of us in the game. It happens sometimes. That's what happens when he's there. All right, so Denver does what Denver does and hits both of his free throws. He's well over 90% now for the season, so pretty reliable there. All right, let's see. Kentucky's kind of known for being 5 out, and yeah, this is kind of a 5 out look right here. They better watch out because Owe's hanging in that backside and he's wide open. I mean, he's not right now, but he was. I like the closeout by Auburn on that 3-point shot, though. That was good. Terrence says, I'm from the future. Broom already has 36 points. Well, Chad with kind of a wild shot there, and he did not hit it. Auburn's definitely cold from the floor right now. Fortunately, Kentucky's not doing great either. Kick ball on a reset. Did Denver get hit in the face or something on that last possession? I saw him kind of grabbing his nose or his eye. Oh, he went right into Miles' shoulder, actually. I think he'll be okay, but let's see, he's going to get a seat between Kai and Sir Turtle. Damn, Auburn screwed up that ball screen right there. Nice job. It was actually Janai that kind of bum rushed it and got the ball out, and Miles gets a nice little bucket in transition. Auburn attacking that ball screen. Interesting to see Auburn framing it the way they were right there. Chad a little bit late on that roll. Was that a necessary foul, though? Was it a necessary foul by Chad going to the hole there? The guy missed the shot. Frustrating. I think he just got shifted a little bit to the wrong hip on that screen, and all right, I'm getting some hot, fresh stats here. Beppo may not be here to proclaim them, but we will all still claim them. It rhymes. Here's the latest stats presented by Krispy Kreme. The Auburn Tigers, of course, up 7-4. You guys know I love passing and ball control. 1 assist, 1 turnover for the Auburn Tigers, and the same for Kentucky. Auburn 2 of 6 from the floor. Kentucky 2 of 5. Rebounding is Auburn +1, but that's just a very small sample size. The teams have combined to go 1 of 5 from 3-point range. Nothing else really standing out for me here. I mean, it's pretty early. Daniel P. with us is Good Afternoon Trainers and Jay War. Damn, my man. Yeah, so I got a text from D in Atlanta who said it's kind of hard for a woman to get prostate cancer. I know, that was a joke. That was the joke. But, yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Neil J says, hell of a delay on my stream. He's coming across. He's back over. You guys know he was on a cruise over here in the in our geographic zone, and he's now back over in Scotland. So we appreciate him checking in. Look at this. He's giving us some Welsh, I guess. I don't even know how to say that. Happy St. David's Day from the Welshman, period. It's our national day. There he is. Of course, he lives in Scotland, but he is Welsh. Today, I will be drinking one of my all-time favorites because it's that kind of day. It's the Lux Row 12. You can snatch this at the Lux Row Distilleries where I get it, which is in Bardstown, just across the highway from Bardstown Bourbon Company. Stu Pup jumping in with a super chat, my man. Said, whoops, thought this game started at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. No problem, Stu. We got you, brother. It was a noon tip today, as you know. But if you got here at 12:30, maybe you would have been very satisfied and good because maybe Auburn will be up 20. That would be terrific. Terrence says, does an Auburn victory today guarantee the number 1 seed in the SEC? Thank you, Stu Pup. I appreciate you. Number 1 seed in the SEC tournament, or do we need Alabama to lose as well? Great question. So I think we had decided our mathematicians decided that a win today in Rupp Arena clinches a tie for the championship, which would, I don't know how the tiebreakers would work in that situation. However, if you've got a win today in Rupp plus Alabama loses against Tennessee, then that's a wrap. Then Auburn gets the number 1 seed. I don't know. When it gets down below, you know what I mean, tiebreakers and stuff, it just gets over my head. And I rather than bullshit you guys, I'd rather just tell you honestly, it's just over my head. Eric G says, that pour sounds delicious. Oh, did you hear the pop on that bad boy? Look at BP. Any pictures of him when he was young. Worked for Dr. Tom Davis at University of Iowa, one of the all-time great coaches of that era. He had a doctorate in education. And it is my belief that one of the reasons that BP is so effective as a psychologist with his teams is because of the time that he spent with Dr. Tom Davis, who also was a master at managing teams psychologically. All right, 7-6. It's been just really even so far. Spicy P says he looks like Jonah Hill from Moneyball. He kind of does, man. What was his name in that? Peter something? All right, so Tahad is checked in, as you would expect, for this second shift. Plus Chaney is in there as well. Slides in for Dylan. Tahad takes over at point. Let's see if they go with Denver playing off ball. You know, if Denver's come back from that shot to the cheek. Looks like no, they're going to go with Miles. And he's going to splash another one. So Miles is 2 of 3 from long range. And the Auburn Tigers just did something dirty and dastardly. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm guessing Chad Bacon Lasagna got a steal on the full court and then put the ball in and got a foul. This is like best case scenario. This is like Pac-Man gets the big pellet and eats all 4 ghosts. I don't even know what happened. I was changing the score, and all of a sudden, good things were happening. But we know Chad is now at the line for an and one. Oh, a lazy pass across court. And Chad finishes with his right hand. He's amphibious, guys. Beppo Says is here with us. What's up, bro? So he gives it a splash city. Eric says 10 of 10 briquettes for that pop. How many charcoal briquettes? All right, so the Auburn Tigers now 13-6. And already have themselves a really nice defensive play in the full court, which is great. Those are kind of free points, you know. In the course of a game like this where you're trying to win your first game in Rupp in a long time, that stuff goes a long way. Great quick double team right there and force the turnover. Did you see that? It was really nice. Auburn being very aggressive on double teams, and they're getting there quickly. Very, very quickly. Terrence says, what pace do we want to play at? I feel like, you know, if you'd asked me that like 2 months ago, I would have said fast, fast, fast. But now that they're playing basically a 7-man rotation, I wonder a little bit. I think they would just like to be medium tempo. I don't think they push the transition game as much, although they can. Miles just banked one in. Just banked one in. Is it going to be one of those days? The Auburn Tigers have a 10-point lead already. They did this to Ole Miss the other day, and it was around this point where, oh, my God, Miles Kelly with a heat check. He's going to bank another one in. Holy shit.
He's on fire!
Guys, Miles Kelly's on a heater right now. He is on a heater. The less we say about that last three-pointer from Kentucky, the better. I don't understand how that happens. He was left unguarded. He had a good set shot, and he missed everything. Tahad leaving the ball for the trailing shot there, and Miles Kelly says, I'm going to bank that biatch too. How about that, man? Small victories, yes. He was not deceived. He said, great shot, but also between the legs backward pass from Tahad. The guy's a magician. You got a freshman against a fifth-year senior at point guard right there. Auburn just had a turnover, and then Chad just stole it right back. You kind of see, oh, my God. Oh, Janai missed the layup. Boy, that was a devious pass, too, man. Boy, Auburn is super aggressive defensively right now. In a good way. It's still measured, but it's really aggressive. Auburn's still up 11 here. Yes, Russell said missed another layup. I feel like Auburn does this way too much. They were pretty good about it against the Ole Miss game, but boy, like the last 5 games before that, it was just the dregs, man. Missing too many layups, too many balls at the rim. Oh, Tahad. Oh, he just worked Oweh in a bad way right there. Man, there's been some dirty stuff going on here. Auburn is playing like so composed and oh my God. I mean, they play like this, it's completely over. Oh my God, what a dish, dude. Oh, and Janai couldn't finish. Janai felt like there was a foul there. I'm not sure. You could almost see Chad kind of waiting for that steal in the full court. You could kind of just see it coming, you know? Ambitious says Broom got to be stronger. Yeah. Yeah, Small Victory says the 80% layups for Janai was gone a long time ago. It's really tailed off. I mean, shoot, a lot of times he doesn't even try it anymore. He just does the fall away. But you know, maybe one of these days he'll get his groove back on that. Spicy Fee says, how do you miss a layup when your fingers are at the rim? All right, so Tahad hits 2. Auburn's been good at the free throw line. And 21-8, a great start for the Auburn Tigers in Rupp Arena. There's no doubt about that. Kentucky trying some weave action up high. That was a really nice drive and kick. I think that's going to be Auburn ball. I feel like Denver knocked that off Oweh. Boy, running that weave the way Kentucky does, which is at a very high pace and well done, really challenges you defensively to just keep up with it mentally and understand that somebody's going to try to come around the horn on that. In that case, it was number 1, Butler. And he was able to get into some free space and kick it out, but they missed the shot. Simo in there. I thought he did a nice job there, but got a little hung up on that awkward turnaround. And now Williams is going to go to the line. Spicy Pieces. I'm 5'8". I never miss on kiddie goals. And Brandon J says, do not let up. I think he's doing like the Adam Driver from the Star Wars. He's like, more. I have a feeling Brandon J wouldn't be happy if it was 40-8. He would still want more. And I respect it. Now, what are we talking about here? That you think that Simo did something shady? Trying to defend that turnaround? Like, really? You guys might be able to see this today, though. I always find it fascinating. There's 2 twins, the Ratliff twins. I don't know. Their names have probably changed since then, but they were the Ratliff twins from Georgetown, Kentucky. And they're my age, and they started working the tables the scores table at Kentucky when I was there, and they're still there. They're still working the table at Kentucky. It's weird. It's been a long time. I haven't been a student at Kentucky since May of 1998. They're sitting right there by the Toyota logo in top right. They sit right next to each other. My first sip of the day, 12:22, no judgment. Stoop Up thinks that might be on Kentucky. Thinking that could be a little bit of a high elbow on that turnaround. But it looks like nothing really came of it either way. Let's see if Simo stays in the game here. Does not look like it, no. I mean, we know when Simo's in the game, they're just trying to get a few extra minutes, off of somebody else. I almost feel like sometimes he's a sacrificial lamb in a way. I think other teams see when Simo's out there and they're like, here's our opportunity to go at him. So he kind of has to take on all comers. Bill asks, do you know about UK fans' thoughts on the new coach and Calipari being gone? I think that they are happy Calipari's gone. I think that they were split on Mark Pope when he was first hired. And I think they're kind of mostly in favor of him at this point. I mean, he played at Kentucky. He was a fairly popular player at Kentucky. He won a national championship with them in '96. And I can tell you as someone who covered him at Kentucky, he's a nice human being. He's a good dude. So I think in general, UK fans are happy with him, and they generally hate Calipari. No, I just disagree with you, Cheney. I love you, man, but Cheney's attitude is I had my hands up and I jumped up straight up, but then he put his hand out to go at the ball and hit his arm. I mean, sorry. Let's see. Fresh Boy is here. He says, JG, what's good? School? Hey, man. Glad to have you here with us again. I love it when you're on the chat, and we're just kind of hanging. Generally pretty happy with the way things are going. I need to get some hot, fresh stats up there, though. Spicy Pieces, how is that a foul? I mean, I need to go back and look at it, I guess, but it looked to me like he slapped at his arm. I saw it once, but I need to see it better here. I wish I could show this to you guys. Okay, first things first. As BP says, be the second guy off the floor. He was not. Now, the guy pushed him. I would say that his arm slapped him on the hand, but it was not an egregious foul at all. But I do think it was a foul. And as BP says, you got to be the second guy off the floor, and he wasn't. He put himself in a bad situation. It's like, when your ex-girlfriend texts you, you just don't answer it. Just say, thank you, I'm good, When you start engaging in conversation, you put yourself in a bad situation, even if you don't like the girl. You know what I mean? I'm not saying with personal experience. I've been married like 30-something years. But, for you younger people, just saying. Now I sound like O.J. Simpson. I'm just saying. Terrence says, JGT, we don't need you to be some objective commentator. We need you to be shilling for Auburn 24/7, LOL. Hey, man, I got a team that I want to win this game, and they ain't in blue. Well, they ain't in light blue, I'll tell you that. Let's see, Auburn 21-9. Let's take a look at some of these numbers here. 3 assists, 2 turnovers for Auburn. 1 assist and 5 turnovers for Kentucky. That's great. Rebounding is dead even. Shooting, Auburn's shooting better than Kentucky, but not by a ton. It's really about just opportunities here. 9 shots total for UK, 13 for Auburn. So Auburn's +4 on field goals attempted. And I feel like the quality of Auburn's shots have been better than Kentucky, aside from Oweh's bucket there inside early on. So they've had to really push for their shots. 1.3 points per possession for the Auburn Tigers, 0.65 for UK. Auburn is very, very happy with those numbers and would be fine with keeping that going the whole entire game. 4 steals for Auburn already, 2 steals for the Kentucky Wildcats, and definitely Miles Kelly has been the hot hand, without a doubt. 14 points already on 5 of 6 shooting. And I thought he was overshadowed a little bit in the last game against Ole Miss, but he had a very efficient game. There's the Twins right there. He had a very efficient game. I think he had 12 or 13 points on like 4 or 5 shooting or 4 of 6 shooting the other day. So he's been playing better shooting basketball. I mean, I think he's a good defender all the time, and I think he's a great teammate. As you guys know, he's very good at getting into the lane. Doesn't necessarily finish that well, but he does get into the lane well. So he's almost a fully featured player for them. If he could just start being more of a consistent scorer, but it looks like maybe he's picking it up. Terrence says Mark Pope is tall. My man. Yes, he is. He is. Sam H. jumps in with a super chat, my man. Says football score 21-9. We'll take it. 3 field goals, really. He held him to 3 field goals and 3 red zone trips. It's not bad, Sam. I really love what DJ's doing with the defense, and I think he's earning every penny of that raise. All right, so Kentucky finally breaks double digits with a pair of free throws right there. And Auburn's lead is down to 10. Damn, Brent, you're like spitting lyrics over here. Pope is a dope on the rope, no hope. Got to cope or mope, don't pick up the soap. It's like Chad just floated one in. That's nice. Little floater. 23-11, man. Great start continues for the Auburn Tigers. Auburn is not letting that ball screen come around. Wow, nice finish by number 22 right there. He was really getting accosted legally. I mean, I'm not trying to say it was anything shady, but I thought the defense was good right there. That ball screen ended up being a DHO. I'm not sure it was intended to be that. Auburn's just absolutely like attacking with their framing paradigm here. All over it. Spicy P with the most correct statement uttered in our chat so far. He says, when Auburn moves the ball, they can't be stopped. That is so true. Auburn's passing tempo when it's hot is really, really good, and I don't think there's a team in the country that can stop them. Wow, I'm surprised Dylan. Wow, Chad is just heating up for here. He is definitely heating up.
He's heating up.
I think Chad's feeling it, guys. I think Chad and Miles are feeling it tonight. And if true, that is going to be doom for Kentucky, I think. Those two guys, when they're hot, are game changers, just one of them. If you have both of them cranking. Look at Dylan just kind of lurking down there. He's ready to swat some shit. It's going that way, my man. Lamont Butler just had a Taha jumping in. Kanuman says, I wonder why I cannot super chat. That's an interesting question, Kanuman. I appreciate your attempt. Of course, we love you. Kanuman says, hate the Cats. We need Hornatius today more than ever. This is his big day, I think. Melee says, current trend pointing to around a 100-56 Auburn win, which would be terrific. Of course, they just got their own steal in the full court and turned it into 2. Damn. Butler getting real physical with Denver on the ball. Of course, that's the scouting report, is that you want to be physical with Denver. Oh, shit, no.
Drop.
Oh, my God.
He's on fire.
Dude, Chad, even for him, that was silly right there. That was a design ball screen ball handler, and then he just did the whole up and under, like, left hand flip. Oh, my God. I wonder why the UK player looked like he was going to try to swat it and pulled away. Maybe he thought it was too pretty to block. Sam H jumps in with his another super chat. Just says, for Canoeman. Man, that is amazing right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. We got a soundbite coming through for Brandon J.
You could drop a tarantula into his shorts and he'll still be cool.
I think he did that in honor of Chad's amazing finish right there. That was a super duper up and under. Kentucky just threw the ball away for no reason. Auburn had a couple of those turnovers. I don't remember which game it was. I think Arkansas game. Indeed. Just too pretty to block. Did you see it, Beppo? I felt like he was in position to hit it, and he put his hands back. And, I mean, it was like 6 feet up in the air. I mean, like, there's no way it was going to be some kind of a goaltend. I don't know. But Auburn really going with Chad as the trigger man right now. Just letting him, I guess, doing a heat check with him. Melee says Broom's setting up for a big second half. He's certainly not having a big first half right now, but it's not needed. Boy, that's a late whistle on that. I do think it's a foul, but it was late. All right, so Kentucky is making an adjustment to the way they're attacking Auburn. They're trying to get downhill. This is not something that they were doing early on. They were trying to use like DHO stuff 20 feet from the basket to get mid-range shots. And now they're just trying to drive downhill off of ball screens or just traditional screens, which is more like what Florida did. I wasn't sure that Kentucky without Jackson would have enough guys to be able to do this. We'll see if they do. 27-19. Auburn's lead is down to 8. Russell, this is hilarious. It says Doge canceled my super chat account. That's good, man. Best chat in the country right here. I love it. Sam H says Kelly needs the ball. I mean, yeah, they're heat checking. Oh, boy. Oh, Janai with another, 3-footer miss. Kentucky beats him back and gets a freebie on the break. Janai's got to hit that, man. This, like we were talking earlier, the 80% thing is over. I know that, but BP calls a timeout there. Interesting. You know, BP is very, very, I should say, he rarely calls timeouts for game flow reasons. I guess he felt like that was just too much right there. Heckhouse says, terrible start for Janai. Yeah, he's been bad. He's been really bad so far. He's had some opportunities, honestly. He's had 2 good looks that I can remember, and he hadn't hit either one of them. That last one right there was particularly costly because Auburn was not prepared to handle things in transition defense, and, yeah, got beat on that one. Small Victory says, no Ashley Judd sighting. I wonder if she's still around as often as she was back when I was a student. I think the last time I watched a game in Rupp was when Trancy played Kentucky. My 2 alma maters went head-to-head back in, November of, maybe 2019, something like that. It probably was before that because Anthony Davis's first game, so I guess it was before that. Hornatius has shown up. Love the Cats. Says there's almost as many fouls on drives as there is when my neighbor's Filipino wife drives to the grocery store. Oh, we'll give you a laugh on that. Why not? Yo, Malcolm is here with us. What's up, bro? Glad to have you here. Pulling for the Auburn Tigers, as is customary. I did not see who scored that bucket. It may have been Janai. It was Denver, in fact. Hey, but it's 2 points either way. Let's see. Feel like a stranger says Broom needs to focus and stop looking for refs to bail him out. He does seem like he tried to Come on, Jay. He seems like he's trying to adjudicate every single foul situation, doesn't it? I mean, he's just always like doing this or whatever. I'd like to see him kind of get in there. It looks like Denver might have picked up a like a cramp or something there in his left soleus. Butch and I was waiting, man. He was going to slap the shit out of that ball. Oh! Man, that backside stuff by Chaney, and he is aghast. Look at him. He can't believe it. His first foul was a 50-50 late, 50-50 whistle, I thought. Now, I didn't get a good look at that one, but it was a very nicely done block, I thought. Okay, does that mean no foul? Wow, that was a hell of a play by Chaney. Oh, into Hod. Caught him napping. Caught him napping. Like Sherry Papini, Harry Houdini. Boy, that was a tough shot. It was about a, 17-foot turnaround over a defender for UK. Miles Kelly says, I can heat this bitch up. Oh.
He's on fire! He's on fire!
Ugh.
He's on fire!
I just kept hitting the button and mashing it. I was hoping it would keep playing. Miles Kelly is having a half of basketball, I'm telling you. Good golly, Miss Molly. I have shorted Kentucky a bucket, and I'm sorry for that. I got a little carried away. Oh, Kentucky gets a nice deep shot in there over a defender. 34-26. I feel like Auburn's played great on the attacking end. Defensively, solid-ish. Solid-ish is where I would leave them. Auburn's still on pace, really, to score 50 points and a half, guys. That should win you a game 100% of the time. I feel like their defense, Miles Kelly says, absolutely. I was wondering he was going to hit that. Auburn's defense has been more opportunistic than it has been, like, really functional. I mean, it's been okay. Oh, that was a nice move. Few too many easy buckets for Kentucky, I think. Feel like a stranger going back with some, I think that's The Who, right? I can see for miles and miles. My JBDC Elite from the chat says, 2 banked in threes, I'm done. What is this guy? Damn. Let's see. Spicy Pizzas, they're killing us in the paint. It's points or a foul every time. I'm going to tell you what, I'm killing you by not getting you hot, fresh stats. So let's get that done right freaking now. Now, I would agree with you that Kentucky has definitely been better driving the ball. They're getting to the line more, but they're accentuating that part of their game. So there will definitely be people that will say, yeah, well, Kentucky has so many more free throws. Auburn getting screwed. Dude, that hasn't been Auburn's plan in this game. That's very rarely Auburn's plan, actually. Like, Auburn likes to jump shoot. Auburn has a shooting team. That's what they like to do. They like to shoot jumpers, and they like Janai Broom to just kind of go to work in the paint. Also, Chaney. So, yes, you look at free throw shooting. It's actually pretty close. 7 of 8 for Kentucky, 5 of 6 for the Auburn Tigers. Auburn 4 assists and 3 turnovers. I don't love that. 4 assists on 12 buckets is not a great distribution for the Auburn Tigers. But on the other side, Kentucky has 5 assists and 8 turnovers. Auburn has 5 steals already. So that's good. Rebounding is 13-8 in Kentucky's favor. That was a rough little segment there. Let's see. Brent says, why does YouTube interrupt with a commercial about a salt trick for men? I seriously have that stuff turned off. I have turned off every possible thing I can turn off on that. I do not have ads inserted at all. I promise you. That's my guarantee to you. Let's see. Daniel D says, how many years does Miles Kelly have left? This has absolutely got to be it for him. I mean, he played 4 full years at Georgia Tech. He was not impeded by COVID, and now he's here. So I think that's got to be the end of it. Yes, great point, ambitious engineer, that I kind of overlooked when I was looking at team stats. I mean, Janai has 0 points on 0 of 3 shooting, and he only has 1 rebound, and he has no assist. So this is a very, very uncharacteristic performance from Janai so far. Chaney also has 0 points on 0 of 1 shooting, 1 rebound in, 8 minutes. So he's been fairly ineffective here. But otherworldly performance from Miles and Chad Bacon Lasagna has been really good. 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting. You'll take that all day long. So you would like to see a little better rebounding. That last segment was bad from a rebounding perspective, and I'm sure that's something that Coach Stephen Pearl, Chadley, Burgo, you can see there in the frame, and BP will be talking to them about rebounding. Okay, now it makes sense to me. So Chaney went through the rim to block that shot. You can't do that. And there's Clark Pearson, himself a University of Kentucky graduate, class of 1996. Also a member of a Hall of Fame, I found out this week. That's actually true. He's in the Franklin Sports Hall of Fame from his hometown in Franklin, Kentucky. What an absolute stud. We drink shit says Jones is really hurt. That one, I don't think he's really hurt, but it's hurt enough to go in there and get it taped. At least he's walking on it fine. Now that would hurt losing him because he's a great rhythm shooter and he's also a good kind of a backup point guard. But yeah, this is pressure on Tahad a little bit. Tahad, we know he can play. It's just a matter of he's got to preserve himself from a foul perspective, right? This game's tightened up a little bit here. Kentucky's definitely gotten into a little bit of a rhythm on the attacking end that they didn't have earlier. Got Simo in the game. I don't like that shot from Tahad. I think there was too much time left on the shot clock, and they could have worked for a better possession. Could have worked their possession for a better shot, I should say. Mark Pope looks like shocked that there was a bailout foul on that one. I'm not sure what they're reviewing here. I mean, they're going to tell us, but. I guess they're looking. So they're going to call foul number 10 Kentucky for his blockout on Janai. In my professional opinion, that was not a foul. Because Janai and him are both kind of mutually hooked. It's just my opinion. And yeah, Spicy P is 100% right. The replays are out of hand. This is too much. I'm okay. I think we're all okay with maybe 2 or 3 reviews a game. Some of these games have, 7 or 8 reviews. Like, golly, guys, come on now. I think they are mutually hooking Russell, but I'm not an expert. Spicy Pieces, LOL. Jay Billis even said it's not a foul. Pipe is in the house. What up, bro? Oh, no, I don't. I just think they were mutually hooking. Soup Hub says we will have ascended to true blue blood status if we get the hook and hold on UK here. You're so right. And I posted the video from BP's press conference on the YouTube page yesterday and had a lot of chatting going on there on the page with UK fans, which was all really nice. They were great folks about it, but they were joking about how BP was already kind of lobbying for whistles because he said something about, UK gets a great whistle at home. And this is reminding me of it right here. Can we get an adjudication here, bro? Denver coming back out on the floor. That's good. Let's get a chat here and tell me what's going on, G. They're all walking further away from the mic, so I'm guessing we're not going to get that. Mark Fox, the former Georgia and Nevada head coach, as an assistant at UK now. Whatever. I don't think it's an awful call, but because to me it did look like mutual hook and hold on both of them. Russell says more replays than your team playing against Mahomes. Now that one hits close to home since I have to see that so much. Although somehow my team actually plays the Chiefs pretty well most of the time. BP is not happy with that call at all. So is that going to be, I mean, is Janai in foul trouble then? I guess it's 2 on him. They're going to sit him. Terrence, I don't know. It looked at me like they were both doing it, but boy, Auburn's defense is still really, really super aggressive right here. I love it. Don't get up on him, Chaney. Now he did see, he waited, man. He was the second guy off the floor on that one. Whoa. The degree of difficulty on that shot right there for Tahad on that cross lane drive is so high, man. Because he's shooting across his body with the wrong hand, and he's still got it in there. Like, unbelievable. Boy, if that's a foul on Chaney, come on, man. That is a tough-ass shot from Tahad there. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, We Drink Shit just said nasty. It was nasty. Wow. It is seeming like that right now, Spicy P. It does seem like Kentucky's getting a whistle every time down there. Now they're trying to get near the bucket and they're looking for it, right? They're trying to get this. They're trying to slow it down and get it real physical because they were playing finesse earlier and getting run out of the building. And they also know that that Auburn isn't a particularly deep team the way they like to play, right? So they could play. If they want to, they can play Kai, they can play Simo, but they don't usually. Turtle. I think they're going to have to play Turtle. Look at Chad get a little kick in there. I like it. Little pass. All right, 36-30. We got 5 minutes to go. Still wondering about Denver's situation. He's back on the bench, but we don't know if he's going to be available or not. That was a sweet little rope-a-dope for Tahad to dump the ball and then zip back into space and take it right back and get the 3 up. That was tasty. Gets fouled on the shot. That is really good stuff, man. It's a 2-man game, but it's just 2 guys that have been playing together a lot. And Janai and Tahad get along really well personally. If you're at practice and stuff, they cut up together a lot. They both just kind of have a similar sense of humor, I think. Yeah, Hackhouse says Kentucky's fouling quite a bit, too. I agree with that. That dude, Carr, he was just flummoxed on that defensive play right there. He didn't know what to do. He was kind of lurching and lunging. All right, Tahad is 1 for 1 so far. Still got 1 to go. And We Drink Shit thought that was a little flop city there. Hey, man. It is what it is. Yeah, Jay Billis is tough. He can be. He's a very bright man, and he's a nice person to talk to, but he gets a little bit. Are they going to call another foul here? Is this going to be on Tahad? Sir Turtle on the floor. This is the kind of game where I think Turtle could really sneak up and do something, because if they're going to keep picking up fouls like that, he's going to have to play, and I think he's a good player. I've been saying for like a month now, he's going to have a game where they need him, and he's going to be there. I think there was the game at Ole Miss, maybe. Was that the game the last game where they really needed him? Where he played for him extended minutes. And I thought he played pretty well. Good defensive rebound from Janai. Now, see, to me, that's a soft call, but in light of what they've been doing, that's a foul on Owe. On Janai's defensive rebound. Silly foul. I mean, he just had better position and had the ball. There was no reason for UK to foul there, but I'm glad they called that. Now, Nolan Richardson would say advantage, disadvantage there, right? That didn't really hurt Janai very much. But again, in light of the way they've been calling fouls in the last 10 minutes, that's a foul. And Janai misses his free throw attempt on a 1-and-1. Spicy Peanuts, that's 3 fouls on Owe. I didn't realize that. Yeah, and yes, I realize I have the stats right in front of me. Great defense from Janai right there with 2 fouls. Great defense from Denver, right? I'm sorry, Dylan right there. Good stuff. Still haven't seen Denver. Got Tahad still out there. Janai's going to take one of his threes and miss it badly. This is really bothering me. Donnie is not bothering me with a super chat coming through. This game is going to have around 100 free throws. Yeah, we're on par for that, I think. Dang. The only person really in defensive rebounding position there was Miles, and he couldn't get it. But Chad gets another steal. Spicy Pieces, Janai killing us. He's been a roadblock in this game, if we're being real. And defensively, he's not been great either. Doesn't seem like he's having any trouble moving. They call a foul on UK on the floor there, rebounding, or what? What's the deal? Thank you, Donnie. Appreciate you, and you're definitely not out of your element on that one, believe me. All right, let's get some hot, fresh stats up here. As we start preparing for the halftime here, we got about one segment left. And some really good things happening for Auburn and some really bad things happening for Auburn, if you want to be honest. They're having some difficulty defending without fouling. I put that in italics because I think some of these calls are a little ticky-tack. And I would say that some of them have gone against Kentucky that are ticky-tack as well. That third foul on Owe was – I mean, he probably shouldn't be reaching over like that, but he wasn't impeding Janai at all, and Janai got the board, so I don't know. Advantage, disadvantage is what I would say. Yeah. Owe has 4 points and 3 fouls. This is not the kind of game that he was wanting to have. Miles Kelly's having a terrific game, though, 6 of 10 for 17. But he's still where he was, and Chad is as well. But if you look at Janai, that's where the real carnage is. 0 points on 0 of 4 shooting, 3 boards, 0 assists. I mean, sheesh, man. You want to see a little bit more from Janai right there. Ball went over the backboard. Thank you for We Drink Shit. Appreciate you clarifying that for me. That's what the stoppage and play was. Terrence says, JDC, why are the refs beating around the bush? Why force Kentucky to dribble the ball into the front court? Just give them the ball at the foul line. I like that. Spicy P says, we see one guy get hot, and we're like, yes, don't pass it. Just keep shooting, stupid. I mean, I don't necessarily mind a little bit of heat checking. I mean, because Miles was on a heat check earlier and he was hitting them. He banked in 2 in a row and then he hit another one, so that one was okay. I thought Chad got a little carried away, but that's kind of how he is, right? That's Chad's thing. He gets a little carried away. Melee says, need more that. I'd like to see more of that, yeah. So, yeah, kind of a weird half so far in the sense that you've got, like, disproportionate scoring from Chad Bacon-Lasagna and Miles Kelly and really 0 from Janai. And Chaney's been real quiet, too. 0 points on 0 of 1 shooting. Normally, in 10 minutes of play, you would see more opportunities for Chaney to score the basketball. We haven't seen that today. So, yeah, a little bit unusual with the way that it's being distributed. Also, Dylan, who isn't a big scorer, but he's usually a stat stuffer across the board. I mean, 10 minutes played, and he's got 1 board and nothing else. Like, that's not efficient at all. So, Christopher B. says, Broom struggles against real length. He succeeds by bullying smaller defenders. I was just talking yesterday with some of the beat writers. The last team Auburn wants to see in the tournament is going to be St. John's because they've got a ton of length, 1 through 5. And I'm with you. That's going to bother Denver. That's going to bother Miles. That's going to bother Janai. So I would agree with your thesis there, your hypothesis. So Kentucky, I mean, essentially just feasting at the free throw line is what they're doing. They've hit 1 3, and their 2-point shooting hasn't been all that great either. So in a sense, you can say Auburn's done a great job defensively against them, but in another sense, Coach Sonny Smith would say you've got to find a way to adjust without fouling. Now, he would also be bitching about these foul calls. There's no doubt about it. They've been, I would call them soft. A lot of soft fouls, but bottom line is you've got to adjust. You can't just get frustrated and then let Kentucky score 45 points at the line. And as BP said in his press conference yesterday, this is the way it goes. This is how it goes when you're in Rupp Arena. Now, that was a nice skip pass right there. Great rebound from Dylan right there after I was just kind of giving him hell. Lamont Butler stepping up to Chad and challenging him. I like that. Chad did not decide to take him there, but he may yet. Are they ISOing for Janai here? Let's see how Kentucky reacts. Jesus. Okay. He got the foul call. I did not like the shot from Janai. I didn't think he had a good base, and I thought it was kind of a desperate shot, but it was a foul. I mean, hey, man, give Kentucky some of their own medicine. I mean, just go in there and just play for fouls. I mean, there's no way he's going to hit that shot, but it's also a foul. Janai's going to miss it. Got to hit the free throws, bro. He's a pretty good free throw shooter typically, but he's currently 0 for 2 at the line. Spicy pieces, free ones count the same as made buckets. You damn right. A point is a point. All right, Janai hit 1 of 2, gets Auburn up to 39. Well, I felt really confident like 5 minutes ago that Auburn was going to hit 50 and a half, and now it looks like maybe that won't happen. Sir Turtle in the game, number 8. What was Dylan doing right there? That was pretty funny. They got to get a replay on that at some point. He looked like Keith Richards at a Stones concert in the 70s. Oh, we got 5 out on UK right now. Boy, great patience by Chad right there to just the way he was defending that I thought he was going to swat him, and then he kind of held back, and then he swatted him at the right time. And Turtle looks like he's getting a foul on the floor there. Shaver Kia says Broom needs a Zen at halftime to calm himself down. Just pop one in, man. This dude, he doesn't look like a confident free throw shooter at all. All right, Janai's going to check back in with 2 fouls. I think they can trust Janai to play, conservative defense and not pick up that 3rd foul. He's pretty smart about that stuff, typically. GW says Janai's rapper name could be Yipsy Buckets. Taxman says refs are calling this game so soft. It really is. It's kind of both ways, really, but it was bad for Kentucky. I think Kentucky was just taking advantage of it first. I think Auburn's doing some of that now. And I agree with it. Just go in there and just bang through. Pick up fouls. We still haven't seen Denver since he went out of the game earlier, around the 10-minute mark, maybe 11-minute mark. Taha just splashed one, though.
Splash.
Oh, my goodness. Butler got a rebound by laying on the floor. All right, Chad's down in a heap right now. I can't tell if he's really hurt. You never know with Chad if he's actually hurt or if he's just chatting. Now he's chatting. He'll be all right. That was a big shot from Taha. I'm glad to see you guys fired up about that one. Heck House fired up about that one. Looks like Daniel D's fired up about that one. Spicy P loves it. We Drink Shit also fired up about that bad boy. Daniel P was the first one there. We're going to do another review, guys. These games don't take long enough. So I guess they're going to review to see if Lamont Butler might have kind of hit him in the face. Yeah, he did. I personally don't think that that's intentional, but I still think it's, come on, man. You can't do that. By the way, I just noticed that they're playing with the Nike Elite basketballs. As I've told you guys before, in practice, Auburn has balls, they have Wilsons, they have Nikes, and they have, I guess, Spalding. I'm not sure what the other one would be. But they have whole sets, and they, when you go to someone's home court, you play with the ball that they want. So obviously Kentucky's playing with the Nike Elites, which means Auburn will practice with the Nike Elites to get used to the ball. It makes perfect sense. That is my favorite ball. Me and Hoke were talking about this the other day. We both love the Nike ball the best. It's very sticky and grippy. Small Victory says this will be a true check on refs. And Spicy P says if that was Chad, he'd be suspended for life. That's about right. They'd probably put him in jail. Yeah, Ambitious feels the same way, that Chad would be in the feds with that elbow. Yeah, Chad definitely got hit hard right there. All right, Mark Pope looks unhappy, so I guess it's going to be a flagrant. There's Billis getting his briefing from his buddy. Kind of baffles me that, I spent 8 years in Lexington, and every time they pan through the crowd and shit, aside from the twins at the scores table, I don't know anybody. You think I'd be able to know somebody? Well, I guess I know Mark Pope. What are you asking for, Billis's seal of approval on this shit or what, man? Come on. I can't believe this takes so long. Me and Spicy P are on the same wavelength here, 100%. Jeez, guys. I mean, we appreciate the effort to get the calls right. You know what I mean? But God bless, does it really take 5 minutes? I mean, does it have to be an OJ trial every frickin' time? I think I heard what he said. I think Pope said, "Joe, that's bullshit." All right, the good news is that Chad is going to get 2 technical free throws here, and he's pretty much money on these, and he is money in this case. Gets both. I mean, seriously, Ambitious would agree with me on this too. Like, it's rare that you see a technical situation like that go in Baker Mazar's favor, right? Almost never happens. Small Time Republic says, quote, "Mr. Billis, may we call a flagrant on Kentucky? Would it be okay?" All right, so Auburn retains possession after the 2 free throws from Chad Bacon Lasagna. This would be a great opportunity for Auburn to take advantage of this. Looks like he got him going the wrong way, and he still couldn't hit the daggone shot. Sam H says, "LOL at Mark Pope." Joe, that's bullshit. Boy, Lamont is... Oh, he had a nice move on Janai there and just couldn't finish. So they're having their own problems at the rim. Oh, Chad with a step back. Oh. Oh, that was a big one right there. A step back splashy from Chad Bacon Lasagna. Oh, and he's really heating up. I need to give him a heating up on that.
He's heating up.
Got the 2 free throws, gets the splash, and all of a sudden he's giving Auburn a little burst here. A badly missed free throw from the Kentucky Wildcats. A.U. Robinson, easy, buddy. He says, "Broom is terrible." Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. I feel like a stranger says, "Can we get Judge Ito?" I made a reference earlier to the OJ trial, and of course, my man catches on quickly and gets a Judge Ito and the dancing Itos. Absolutely. I was a little disappointed in that documentary on Netflix that I watched. 4-part doc. No, was it 3-part? I can't remember if it was Sins of Our Mother. I watched the next day. But anyway, very little coverage on Judge Ito from the OJ trial, and I felt like that was a big part of it when it was going on. And then it was kind of overlooked or glossed over in the documentary, although it was a fine documentary. I still miss him being on my Twitter feed going, "Hello, Twitter world. It's me, yours truly." And at the end, he goes, "I'm just saying." I don't know. I know he's a bad guy. I know that. I just found him entertaining on Twitter. That's all. Oh, my goodness. I thought Chad was going to get a splash city right there. Oh, but he's going to go in, guys. He's on fire.
He's on fire.
Dude, Chad is he's completely lit right now. Missed the 3. Got back inside and scored on a 2, a little spinner on 2. He kind of put it up on the glass and spun it so it popped in. It was a really nice little move there. He's a bad man. He's a young man making the most of his athletic potential. There's no doubt about that. Daniel P. says it better than I did. He said, "Chad is a freaking stud." Hey, man, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right, we were like, what's wrong with Chad? Well, we're not asking today. He's having a great game. Brandon J. says we're 50% field goals and 46 from 3. Auburn is shooting the ball really well, and they're going to have another damn near 50-point half, which is a great way to do it. I feel like a stranger says F. Chris Darden, F. Marsha Clark in quotes. I love Chris Darden, and I thought he was a very engaging figure in that documentary, but Marsha Clark seems like a real sweet girl. A. Robinson said OJ did it. I mean... Right, guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're even talking about that. Let's see. Terrence says if OJ did do it, he wrote a book on how he did it. Or did you mean he would have? It seemed like a very sloppy killing for them not to be able to figure out who it was. If it wasn't OJ, like, you know what I mean? Like, they should have been able to figure out who it was. According to the broadcast, it says Kentucky's missed their last 9 shot attempts, which may help explain why Auburn's up 15 right now in a game that feels like it's been fairly close, right? Auburn jumped out to a nice lead. Then the game felt pretty even for about 10 or 12 minutes. And then the last 2 or 3 minutes, it feels like Auburn's made another push. And it's kind of coincided with Kentucky going cold from the floor, which they do sometimes. This is not a particularly awesome shooting team, as you can see with that airball three-pointer. Simo's got his hands on his head like, God dang it, did I get called for another foul? And BP is off his ass. He's sick of it. I mean, I wonder if Kentucky fans are even sick of this at this point. Like, God bless, man. It's going to be 5 o'clock before we get out of here. I mean, sheesh. Sam H just says backlash from the Rodney King riots. Yes, that is, and someone who was alive and conscious at the time of the Rodney King situation and also the LA riots, like that was some pretty justified anger there, in my opinion. Very, very justified. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about UK and Auburn. We tend to get a little, I mean, our chat, we like to talk about a lot of different things. Schaefer Kia says Mark Pope looks like Uncle Fester. That's pretty funny. Uncle Fester was short and stocky, though, right? Like he'd be more like a bald-headed lurch. Hit that, Chad. Hit that, Chad. All right, so 49-34 at the halftime. And all in all, a fantastical first half for the Auburn Tigers. And they kind of did what they usually do, right? Like they play good ball, and they have a surge or two per half that just puts them out, like a 6-point surge, an 8-point surge. And if you play even the rest of the half and you have 2 8-point surges, then you walk out 16 up, And it's the way they kind of do it. They just go on heaters. And this particular half had like some really good individual heaters. I mean, Miles went off, Chad went off, and then Tahad had himself a little run too, where he was getting hot around the 6-minute mark of the half. So a lot of folks had their chance to blow up there. GW says, JG, let's talk about a Yipsy Buckets album cover. You need to use ChatGPT for that, my man. Feel like a stranger jumps in with another super chat. Says F. Chris Darden, F. Marsha Clark, Soul Food by Goody Mob. Come on, JGT. Shit, my bad, bro. I knew when you put it in quotes, it was something, and I just didn't pick up on that. I'm sorry. I appreciate you being with us wire to wire today. Feel like a stranger. It's a great part of it. Wait, who's the babe? Who do we think's a babe? AU Taxman, of course. You're someone who's been with us for since the COVID shows, so we used to talk about babes all the time. Let me go ahead and get these hot, fresh stats up because that's critically important right now, considering we are now at halftime. Here's some, before I even get the hot, fresh stats up for you guys, I want to get you something else that you're going to really, really enjoy. I got a little box here called Current Trends, and I think you're going to like all 3 of these trends. Kentucky has missed 10 shots in a row. They have hit 1 of their last 13, and they have not scored a bucket in 7.5 minutes, guys. Oh, Jess Sims. Yeah, my wife and I are both crushing on Driana from Game Day. We're talking about we both like her a lot. Hayden jumps in with a super chat. No Janai, no problem. Wardam Eagle, JGT. Let me give you an applause for that, Hayden. We love Hayden. Been with us for a long, long time. I still don't have the hot, fresh stats up. I got to get this done. I got so overwhelmed by Kentucky having missed 10 shots in a row. And they're not necessarily known for their great shooting, so it's not shocking. But at the same time, I feel like Auburn deserves a lot of credit for that poor shooting because they have been up in their business all day long because the Auburn Tigers standing on business. I'm standing on business. You're standing on business. I'm a huge Drewski fan. He's my favorite YouTuber by far. He's the absolute man. Man, seeing him at the celebrity NBA All-Star game was amazing, too. All right, here's the halftime stats, fresh and hot, coming to you. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, 3 people from the Auburn Tigers went on heaters in that half at different times. Miles had the first one. I think he had 14 points in the first 8 minutes of the game. Banked in 2 threes. Then Chad. Well, no, I guess then it was Tahad around the 8-minute mark went off. Around the time that Denver went out with the whatever his ankle or shin injury. And then he went off. And then Chad, who was decent early on, but then went on a bender again late. He finishes with 16 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Wow. Just amazing. Another number that blows my mind. This has got to be the lowest assist to buckets ratio of the year. 4 assists for Auburn on 16 buckets. We always feel like Auburn's best attacking mechanism is tempo passing in the half court, right? And they haven't really done much of that because they've been doing a lot of ISO stuff and like heat checks. I mean, essentially it was just when Miles was getting hot, it was just, well, let's just keep shooting. I mean, me and Spicy P were talking about this in the chat. It's kind of frustrating when you see it sometimes that the heat checks go on a little long, but in Miles' case, he just kept hitting him, and then you're just kind of ISOing for Chad, then you're ISOing for Tahad rolling off screens as the ball roller guy. Like, I don't know. It just hasn't been a passing tempo kind of game, and that's so unusual for Auburn. So 4 assists and 3 turnovers, just baffling numbers, but they work, right? I mean, the bottom line is Auburn's up 15, and there's no reason to fuss, but it's just an odd way to get there. Martin jumps in with a super chat. My man, he just says LFG War Eagle. We'd love to have it. Thank you, Martin, for jumping in here in the chat. And it's great having you here, brother. But a really weird way for Auburn to get to 49 points. And 10 of 14 from the free throw line ain't bad either. You know, I kept thinking that Kentucky had this huge advantage at the free throw line, but the truth is that Auburn also got there plenty. 7 of 16 from three-point range for Auburn, and then 1 of 9 for Kentucky. Again, I don't think of Kentucky being like some great three-point shooting team, but I mean, that's bad. They're having a lot of shooting problems. Looking at Kentucky's numbers, their rebounding advantage is huge. They're +9 now. Cassidy P is not with us today, but, you know, he's somebody who pushes rebounding margin. In this case, it's not helping Kentucky very much, but that is a trend that I think Auburn would do well to not continue. It was kind of a fluky half in a way. I mean, look, Auburn played good basketball. Don't get me wrong. It had some great individual performances. In fact, I would argue that 3 of the 4 best players on the floor today are Auburn players. But you don't want to give up, you know, what is it, -9 rebounding in another half. That's just not a good idea. And 9 offensive rebounds for Kentucky in one half, whereas Auburn only had 3, is not what you want to see. Ball handling for Kentucky, not great. 5 assists and 10 turnovers. But, I mean, 5 assists on 9 buckets. They only have 9 buckets. Auburn has 16 buckets. And if Kentucky doesn't go to the free throw line so much, they are getting just absolutely waxed. You could argue that they are getting waxed as it stands. Spicy Pieces, Janai had 1 point, and we're up 15 and scored nearly 50. Denver 8 minutes. We are so balanced. It's insane. That's the thing. Auburn has a lot of different ways to come at you. They have a lot of different scores. And, you know, a couple years ago, we were not in this situation, and now we are. Or we've added, we've got people now to think, you know, when I say we, I'm talking about us in the chat. It was always like, God, it's all on Janai, you know, 2 years ago. Now there's a lot of different people that can help, and it's kind of baffling that Janai had such a bad half. Now, I do want to give credit to number 22, Amari Williams, who I think has been a defensive issue. He has the length to undermine Janai in a lot of ways, and he's tapped the ball away from Janai, who had his back to him a couple times today legally, which is frustrating to Janai. It throws off his rhythm. And I just didn't feel like, you know, Janai's shot quality wasn't very good. He's 0 for 5 from the floor, and his 1 point was a free throw off a really bad shot. I feel like some of his shots just get a little lungy and panicky almost. And, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Anthony R. says, JG, your guy, Jay Billis. Oh, you know I love Duke, guys. Is on one today when Chad got hit. He said it was incidental. It was an incidental orbital fracture. Not actually, but he could have been, I guess. John D notes that the Horse Girls beat Georgia 11-8, which is a big. I mean, Georgia's good, so that's a big win for the equestrian. And Jessica just continues on right where Greg left off. It's an equestrian powerhouse here at Auburn, like no joke. Let's see. Russell is saying, book it. Janai Broom is going to get lathered up for the second half. And GW says, Jay Billis is the Joe Biden of college basketball. He's not that old, GW. Golly. Runner 24 says, Amaris Williams should get back to winter football workouts. Come on, that's pretty clever, man. Runner 24, my man. He shows up and he drops one like that. I love it. Let's see, Ephesians, his expectations for Janai in this half coming up is going to be 10 to 12 points and 4 or 5 boards, which he's fine with. Daniel P. says, Auburn Proud is peddling a terrible take on the board. Oh, boy. Auburn's up 15. I guess it's not enough when you're in Rupp Arena, right? Chip mentioned earlier, what have you all done with Denver? I can't leave you guys alone for anything. And John D notes that the South Carolina is up 30 on the South Carolina Gamecocks. Seriously?
What?
Russell, yeah. South Carolina 50, Arkansas 20.
What?
Oh, my goodness. Patrick B wants to know, what was I drinking in 88? Great question. You're not going to believe this considering what I do now, but I didn't drink in high school. I was like anti-drinking. I wasn't like a crusader or anything like that. I just didn't, I don't know. I was around some people that were drinking, as, you know, some adults that were drinking and acting weird, and I just didn't get it, and I didn't want to be like that, so I didn't drink. The first time I drank any alcohol in my life, no shit, outside of church, you know, because we, you know, blood of Christ, was my freshman year at college. So I guess the answer would have been, I would have been drinking like Sprite out of my Quick Trip Squirt. That's what we called that. GW says Yipsy Bucket's going to write a rap song about his first half performance. Call it bricking. Brick, brick. We could do that, man. We could get some AI going on that. T-Roy Tiger says JGT Totaler. My parents were close to that. They weren't like anti-alcohol per se, but they didn't have alcohol in the house. And so I just didn't grow up around alcohol, and it just wasn't something that I felt good about. Now, when I got to Trancy, started drinking more bourbon. I discovered bourbon. At that time, we were basically just drinking Maker's Mark because we couldn't afford anything else. P-Pass says, I was hauling moonshine in high school, grandfather still, and I drove because I was a minor. Oh, boy. And Don Properdick, and keeping up with some jokes that we had going on the bourbon blend the other night, Kentucky with an I. That's pretty funny right there. Things that I'm looking for in the second half. Obviously, Janai, you want to see more from him. And we haven't really talked about it at halftime, but you'd like to see more from Chaney. Chaney's been a really big part of what Auburn's been doing, certainly in the last month to 6 weeks. We felt like he's really gotten a big spark of confidence or something. I mean, he just feels like he's going out there and he understands his role better. Maybe he's more comfortable playing alongside Janai or with Dylan or however that's working out. But he's been a factor for the past 4 or 5 weeks for sure. And he's got 0 points on 0 of 1 shooting. He has 2 rebounds in 10 minutes. So that is also not helping a lot. Now, he's not a National Player of the Year candidate the way that Janai is, but Chaney typically is a big-time performer for Auburn. So he's somebody else that you want to see pick it up a little bit. So I think that's going to be the adjustment. I will be curious to see if Denver comes out, and if he doesn't, I think that's going to really kind of move things around a little bit. You're going to have to – I mean, you can't leave Tahad out there for the entire half, I don't think. So maybe the adjustment there. Miles Kelly has some experience playing on-ball point. When he was at Georgia Tech, he was not really a point guard, but he had some experience doing that. And, of course, Chad can be kind of a trigger man running high screens. He does that. He did that several possessions in this game already. So maybe if Denver's not available and Tahad's got to take a step back, just take as Bill Raftery would say, to get a blow, maybe you go with Chad or Miles Kelly running some stuff as kind of an on-ball two, I should say, and maybe you shift Miles up to be kind of a combo two. I'm just thinking out loud here. We haven't been in this situation because Denver's always been available, so he hasn't gone down in this season at all. Spicy Pieces Billis is just pissed because this is Duke's best team in a long time and we're better. He's trying to talk them down. And Beppo says Jay Billisy. Well, you're anti, right? You got to be worried about people whose names end in I. P-Pass, continuing on his moonshining story, says, my uncle gave me moonshine and was shocked by how much I could drink compared to others. Woke up the next day and swore off of it. Yeah, that stuff can give you a headache like you've never felt before. Terrence says, Pegues could probably buy us a few minutes if needed. I actually wonder. I mean, he's played 3 minutes in SEC play so far, and they were 3 bad minutes. They were 3 utterly forgettable minutes at LSU where he made a critical error on out-of-bounds play. And it just seems like to me when I'm at practice that he's just not in it. Like, he's there and he's practicing, but it's like he's an afterthought in practice. You know what I mean? And it seems like Kai is like that too, but then Kai came out and had a nice little finish to the game the other day. So Nick A says that Denver is on the court warming up, but still limping a little bit. It looked like he kind of got caught up with Janai on a defensive rotation, for lack of a better term, I guess. Melee says JPP refuses to play with Broom because he's not a scorer. Spicy P, that is correct. You said he played against Ole Miss, didn't he? I think he somehow managed a negative plus-minus. I do think that he played one shift, didn't he? We were all shocked, like, oh my God, JPP's out there. It was there at the last 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you. Honestly, I think Chad's fine in a pinch. I think you can get like 4 or 5 minutes out of Chad as a on-ball 2, basically. They may trust him more than Miles just because, Miles has been used solely as an off-ball 2-3. Small Victories City texted his Georgia Tech fan brother about Kelly being on a heater and said, yeah, he's had some 30-point games when he was just unconscious. I mean, he was a pretty good player at Georgia Tech. He just was playing on some bad teams, and I think he got frustrated with it. But he played on ball some. So we're getting ready to start this half. I'm pretty fired up about it. You love seeing Auburn up 15. I think a good thing to do would probably be to just go ahead and get Owe that 4th foul as soon as possible and just kind of get him night-nighted a little bit. He has not been a factor in this game at all. If you watched the Oklahoma game the other night, he was insane. I mean, he was like Michael Jordan out there in that game. But that probably had a special meaning for him considering he transferred to Kentucky from Oklahoma. P-Pass thinks that Pegues ought to be playing a little bit from the 12-minute mark to the 8-minute mark just to try to get some. It looks to me, and I am not a physician here, the way he grabbed his leg in the very beginning, Denver, is that he like strained his soleus a little bit. I mean, that's where he was grabbing, and that's kind of a painful. I've actually had an injury there, and it's painful to move around on it. The good news is that it won't take too long to get back. I would say 1 good week would get him back. It's a turnover right there. That's going to be Auburn basketball. That's what you get for leaving San Diego State, bro. Turd. Small Victory says Denver was kicked. Word. So maybe it's more like a shin situation. He was just grabbing that area of his leg. That's what I figured. I thought it would be his soleus. But I'm not a doctor. My dad is, but I'm not. Oh, that would have been a sweet pass of Chad. Okay. Been a sweet pass if Chad had gotten that through to Dylan, but got tipped at the last second. Oh, don't call that. I need to see a replay on this one. It's another player. I mean, I mentioned it at the beginning of halftime, but Dylan's been a 0 too. We talk about Janai, but Chaney and Dylan have added nothing either. Guys, did we see the foul there on the replay? I mean, I give a lot of credit to number 1 for Kentucky. He seemed like a really, really valorous point guard. I mean, I feel like he is going in. I mean, he is head down and he's going to the hole. I respect it, but golly, man. All right, so Tahad is going to go in. Ooh, Janai gets his first big boy bucket right there and just went right up over somebody and forced it in. We were talking about him needing to be a little tougher, a little more physical, and I thought that was a very physical drive there and finished in traffic, took on 2 guys. So Tahad may end up getting, 16 to 18 minutes in this half. Oh, it's almost like an incidental foul on Dylan, but Dylan, that's a 4th foul on Dylan, isn't it? It is. Fucking A, man. All right, so we're going to have to get a lot of turtle here. They're going to put Chaney in as an immediate to address this immediately, but it's going to have to be Turtle. Going to have to play some minutes here. And they're staying at the free throw line. Chaz Music with us here. Says, hey, yo. Y'all might have talked about it, but didn't hear the different color shoes on the players are wearing. Are they Nike with the stripe blacked out since we are going with Nike after the season? I'm not sure on that. I haven't looked at them closely enough. Travis J is just having a day. Appreciate you, bro. I know if it's too frustrating, you got to go. Your mental health is important to me, but he's getting frustrated with Kentucky getting literally a foul on every single possession. It is getting old. Janai with another 3-point attempt, and he didn't hit anything. Dude, all right, he's 0 for 2 from 3. That's all you get. You get 2. You get 2, and that's it. And if they're air balls, you don't get any more. Don't call a foul on that. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Owe completely fell on his ass right there, and he wants a foul call. What is he going to call? Foul on the floor? Miles is doing absolutely nothing right there, and I'm glad they did not call foul on him. But Owe was crying. Little step back action right there. Missed another 3. Oh, boy. Tahad with a rare dunk in transition. I was about to get frustrated with Auburn there, and then they actually turned it around pretty quickly and got and Kentucky just turned it over in the full court. Oh, it was Janai that got that ball tipped out, and then Chad got it right out to Tahad. That was about the quickest drive. The quickest full court bucket you're going to ever see. Ball was probably only out 2.5 seconds from tip to dunk. I think Chad got fouled on that or whatever. Dude, Kentucky's they're just getting pilfered right now. I think that's something that I saw on the scouting report. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Come on, Jay. What are you doing, bro? I'm screwing this up. Shocking. Not that one. Yeah, steal percentage. Okay, this is Kentucky scouting report here. Turnover percentage on attack is good, but on defense, so they don't usually create turnovers for shit at all. Yeah. All right. All right, so Auburn's been really pushing tempo a little bit more this half. I mean, it really hadn't been on purpose. because they've been getting steals. And they're kind of taught, Auburn's DNA is that you get a ball stolen like that, you push. And that's what Auburn's been doing so far this half. And Tahad steps up there and calmly hits a couple of free throws to get to Auburn, to get to Sammy Hagar's favorite number, 55. He would rather drive faster than that, of course. Neil Jones says 2.5 seconds from tip to dunk. Not since I was 17, sir. That's my guy right there. Welshman knows how to finish. Turnovers. So with 4 turnovers this half already, Kentucky now has 14 turnovers. And Auburn has 3. I think Auburn actually has 4 now. Daniel P says, good Lord, this Kentucky team has no discipline. Are we even at the 16-minute mark yet? We're not. Are we? We're in the 17s, aren't we? 16:59. So Pope called a timeout because they have 5 turnovers already in this half. Good God. I take that back. They have 6 turnovers this half, guys. I was going to say a bad word there. This half, right now, Kentucky has 0 assists and 6 turnovers. Good God almighty. Kentucky has 2 assists and 1 turnover. I'm sorry, Auburn has 2 assists and 1 turnover. So they're on, par for their usual, but Kentucky 0-6. Yowzers. By the way, Auburn is 2-5 from the floor this half, and they are 0 for 0. They have not taken a shot yet. Of course, they're getting all their free throws. And by the way, another number we haven't talked about is the numbers at the bucket. The Kentucky Wildcats are 5 of 9 at the rim, 4 of 8 layups, and 1 of 1 dunks so far this game. The Auburn Tigers are surprisingly 7 of 9 at the rim, 6 of 8 layups, and 1 of 1 dunks. So maybe those layups missed were like back to back, and because in my head I think they haven't been great at the rim, but those numbers are really good. And Chaz says they say that Kentucky has not attempted a shot this half. That's what the stats say too. Damon says the broadcast says 6 possessions this half and 6 turnovers. Well, they definitely have 6 turnovers. Let's see. Home stats, second half. I've got 7 possessions and 6 turnovers officially. That's still pretty damn bad, right? Yikes. Now I understand why he called a timeout like that. Here we go. GW says this Kentucky team looks like they could start at quarterback for the Raiders. Boo this man. Tired of all this Raiders chat. I mean, you must be jealous because we've got old man Carroll. T-Roy says Arkansas has 28 points with 8 minutes left. Did Barbie rejoin Cal staff? I know, man. South Carolina's killing them, bro. Absolutely killing them. Amazing. Wow, another good start for the Auburn Tigers, honestly. And if it wasn't for Kentucky getting some free throws. I wish I could read this. He's got all this stuff on the board right there. Only way Kentucky beats us is if they, I don't know what that word is, make threes, I guess. That's your full scouting report right there. I like that. Huh. Interesting. Sorry, guys. That was like some inside baseball stuff there. Kind of got me excited. P-Pass thinks the Raiders are going to pick Jackson Dart maybe in the second round, maybe in the third round, something like that. That'd be interesting. Oh, God, Donnie. Don't bring that up. Raiders draft Milroe. I would not be happy with that, but I mean, what's he going to do? He's not going to help anybody. All right, 55-37. Auburn Tigers have possession. about 17 minutes to go. Still no Denver. So Chad kind of started that possession as a de facto point guard. Miles has cooled off, I think it's fair to say at this point. Kentucky's still playing 5 out. And they continue to try to beat Auburn 5 out with back cuts. And Auburn, I feel like, is got their eyes up. And they're getting hands on those balls most of the time. I think they've only gotten the first one they got through, like back, at the 1935 mark of the game. And they haven't gotten one through since then. That was a sweet little 2-man game right there, but it's only worth 2. 55-39. Tahad continuing to play point guard. And it looks like Denver's still over there, kind of standing up on the end of the bench, working with Clark Pearson. But we got a 3-pointer. And a foul for Miles freaking Kelly. Yeah, we learned the hard way in 2019 about that foul right there. And that's Owe getting his 4th foul. You hate to see it, but more than that, you love to see it. He hasn't been a factor today, though. Like, coming into the game, you'd have been like, oh, sweet, he got his 4th foul early in the second half. Great. But he really hadn't done much today. It's been number 22 has been their saving grace, honestly. And the point guard has been very valorous. I mean, he hadn't necessarily burned him for a bunch of points, but he's been a good player. He's a good auger. He could play for me. I mean, I'd rather have Tahad, but I think he'd be a good backup. Here's your hot, fresh stats. And we still got Auburn at the line for one more when we come back. Oh, shoot. I did this wrong, didn't I? God dang it. JG, what are you doing, bro? I love doing second half boxes when we're early in the second half. And you know what I did? I didn't do that. So let me go back. Those are fresh stats. Those are correct stats for the game. But they don't give you a good idea of what's going on in this half so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up some second half stats. And it'll give us a better idea of what's actually going on right now. Uh-oh, my man CDF with a super chat. I'm about to sneeze, too. Sorry, man. The only person I know who sneezes harder than me is Stoltzy. All right, these are just the second half stats, which I much prefer when we're early in the second half. We got a super chat coming through from my man CDF, who's watching from the extreme West Coast. He says, "Choo choo." He loves it. Getting on that Miles Kelly train.
Super chat.
My man. Yes, thank you for the super chat, my guy, and always being super supportive. And I'm just saying, dude, I do play Warzone still, so if you're around. Small Time Per Public says second half boxes can be a little sweaty. Yeah, they can, particularly late in the half, but anyway. You can see Kentucky's 1 of 1 from the floor. Auburn's 3 of 7. So Auburn's +6 on shots attempted. You would like to see Auburn have an even better, or larger, I should say, advantage on the scoreboard as a result of that, although there is still a point to be adjudicated here. Miles got that 3, and he still got the free throw to go. Auburn doesn't have a rebound this half yet. Of course, small sample size. So Kentucky has continued to add to its rebounding margin, which I believe is up to probably 13 now. Auburn has 2 assists, 1 turnover. Kentucky has 1 assist, 6 turnovers. That's probably the story of the half so far. And Janai already has doubled his point output. That's pretty good. Wow, it's a cone, guys. It's a soft serve cone. You can only find that at Rupp Arena. Stupid says won that segment 9-5. We'll take that every day. Yeah, Kentucky's got to. I mean, they're gonna have to have some big time segment wins, like where they win, triple points in the segment to just get back in this game. I mean, if Miles hits this free throw right here, that's a 20-point lead, or from a Kentucky perspective, a 20-point deficit. I mean, you're going to have to do something special to get back. I mean, shoot, even before the game when I said I need to see it to believe it, right? I still thought Auburn was a, 6 or 8 point. Should win this game by 6 or 8 points. I just never believe, I haven't seen this happen in my professional lifetime. But they're even exceeding that optimistic expectation, honestly. That was not great defense from the Auburn Tigers, but every now and then it's okay. When you're up 18, not a big deal. Oh, my God, a heat check, and he splashed another one. Guys, Miles Kelly, he is unlocking Kentucky right now. Boy, the point guard has a really nice shot. It looks great shooting it. It's just that it doesn't go in. Daniel Pieces, Kelly is unconscious. You are correct, sir. He's getting close to 30 now, isn't he? He's got 24 on 8 of 13 shooting, 7 of 11 from 3. Holy shit, we still have a long way to go. 24 points, dude. And we're this early in the second half. Looks like that Marlene is sitting next to the Twins there. Another review. Spicy P, we need to count this up. Good God almighty, man. What are we doing? Guys, we try to be college basketball fans. We try so hard. And they just kick us in the dick every single game. Melee says it's like his flu game minus the flu. Come on, that's funny, man. That's pretty funny. And P-Pass says it's like Mitch Richmond from NBA Jam, and I'm here for it. I would have said like Tom Chambers. I know that wouldn't be in NBA Jam. That would be in Bulls Lakers on the Sega Genesis, where Tom Chambers could do that dunk from like right inside the 3-point line. He would just do like this tomahawk dunk from like 18 feet. He was unstoppable. He was like Tecmo Bo back in those days. But on NBA Jam, Mitch Richmond was an absolute G. Yeah, Runner 24 says reviews for contact just kills the viewing experience and game flow. They need to fix it. They absolutely do. Maybe they'll do it after the season, They don't want to make changes like that in the middle of the year just to keep consistency from start to finish. Did he not walk out of bounds? Thank you. Thank you. That's not Amaris Williams, by the way. That's Amari Williams. He was actually played pretty well this afternoon, but he don't have much help. Mike Isolino, Taxman. He was like the little point guard for the Mavs, right? He was like their version of God. Who was that little guy? Not Gugliotta. Wasn't there like a little Italian dude that played point guard that wasn't him though? It's going that way. I don't know. Maybe it's. Oh, Chaz Music, dude. Listen, when I play the NBA Jam that's behind me, always play with the Warriors, because you get Timmy Hardaway Sr. and then you get Chris Mullin. And Chris Mullin can absolutely splash, dude. When he's on fire, like he can't be defended. Like he just shoots from half court. Another BS foul. Here we go, man. All they got to do is just say, "Hey, man, we're going to drive to the hole," and they say foul. Desperado's my man. 24 says Tom Chambers would give his left nut to make that tomahawk dunk in an actual NBA game. Dude, I could get 5 of those a game when I was playing Bulls Lakers, which was definitely the jam before NBA Jam. It's so boring playing with like Jordan and stuff, like and Bird, and I mean I wouldn't do all that. Rick Smits. Yes, Rick Smits was good. He was the Flying Dutchman, right? Like he was. Don Properdick, I would have liked him, I'm sure. Don, of course, Dutch royalty, to be fair. Is that Simo with a 3? Oh, we got to get...
He's on fire!
Dude, if Simo scores, he's on fire. 65. Simo with a side release 3. Oh, my God. Kentucky just hit one from really, really deep. Simo was frustrated by that one getting in, actually. It's just kind of seeing where Denver's at. I don't see him right now. Simo, dude, there's nobody between you and the bucket. There he goes. He's on fire.
He's on fire!
Back-to-back buckets from Simo. I bet it's never happened. For him to score on consecutive possessions, I bet it's never happened. Great defense from Chaney there. Patient defense. Oh, man, another nice splash city for Kentucky. I mean, but Auburn's like, they're doing fine. They're going shot for shot with him right now. Oh, Melee, talking about Tom Chambers, dude. Absolutely, dude. He's a figment of our video game imagination. Like in real life, he was okay, but yeah, that's a foul on you, number 10. You're a disgrace to the number 10 Kentucky jersey. Andre Riddick you should be paying Andre Riddick royalties for wearing that jersey, bro. Oh, Mr. Garrison. He got worked on that one. Janai absolutely just owned him. Kind of like Antoine Nolan and Willie Northern back in the day. I stole your mind. Janai missed a free throw. Nick says Simo has more offensive rebounds than Broom. It can't even happen. It's impossible. But it has happened. We are watching it happen before our eyes. Simo's he's done for the day. He's like, man, I got 5 points, dude. I'm out. All right, so Janai gets one of his free throws to go. Look, that means he's got, 3 points this half, maybe? 4, 3. Let's see. Spicy Pieces. Broom got the gymnastics things where you don't know where you are in the air. It's like they call it the twisties. Yeah, that could be it, man. Auburn, really nice defense on this possession. Oh, Chad with a silly foul there, man. Just like a frustration foul. Slap the dude on the arm like in a panic. Desperado, I'm sorry, bro. I wish there was a way I could get you to speed up a little bit, like if I could get your TV back on pace. Watch Chad with this foul right here. Dude. I'm with you, Ambitious. That was definitely a foul. And it wasn't necessary. I mean, be aware. Like, you're up 17 points. Like, don't worry about that. The less opportunities Kentucky has to score with this clock stop, the better. So that's just silly. But, at the same time, that same swashbuckling attitude that resulted in a free point for Kentucky right there also is probably half responsible for the game he's had so far, which has been really good. So, what the hell, man? I just lost my feed. No, they just went to like a commercial. What the hell? Wait, what the hell, man? Did Janai score that or no? Daniel Pieces, they just went to commercial during a play. They did. All right, so the shot from Janai did go. I'm having to look at the stats there. I certainly can't see it on my TV. So he did score, and then Shaney got a foul on the other end. Daniel P., he did make the layup. So it's 70-52, but Shaney got a foul on the other end. And UK is shooting free throws right now. I had a blue screen as well, Pocket. That's exactly what I saw. They're still playing. Kentucky just hit a free throw. They hit 2 free throws, so it's 70-54 now. Yeah, T-Roy says, Simo scores 5, and now it's Armageddon. My man. Looks like Cheney came down and missed a shot, and then Kentucky got the rebound. So I guess we're going down to Kentucky scoring on the Kentucky scoring end again. I'm starting to think Anonymous is right. He says, I think they went to commercial to try to fix a lost feed. So it's maybe a long commercial break, so to speak. All right, they're in a media timeout now at Rupp. It's confusing to me about why they would have gone to a media timeout, because I don't see like a play that would have precipitated that. Nobody called timeout, and there wasn't an out of bounds, but they may have just done it on the floor right there to try to slow the game down because of this outage. So, yeah, a Taxman's spouting out some stats, which is awesome. And I probably need to get those for you guys, too. I'm sorry, I was kind of frustrated. We haven't had that happen this year. We just lost the damn feed right in the middle of the game. Let me get a second half box, an updated, I should say, second half box to take a look at some of these numbers. All right, cutting it right now. All right. So we got some fresh second half stats here to consider for your consideration. Schaefer says, did the damn feed go down? Yes. And Solo Tigre says, the media called timeout. Yeah, Henry was up there going, guys, we need a timeout. All right, so in the half here, Auburn just slightly ahead with 1 rebound. And Kentucky has 7. I was going to say somewhere Cassidy P would be pissed about this. And now he says Jamel Martinez ain't coming through that door, fans. Jamel Martinez, of course, played for Kentucky in the early 90s, who wore number 44. He was from Miami. And he was kind of like their version of Simo, although he was a little taller. He would just kind of bang and take up space, and give you like 10 minutes a game, not really do much. Kind of be like Turtle, but play more. I guess he was better than that, though, but he's decent, I guess. Let's see, anything else sticking out to us here in the halftime numbers. Miles is, again, doing well, 7 points on 2 of 3 shooting. Janai's been incrementally better. 5 points on 2 of 3 is not a big deal, but no rebounds. Of course, Auburn doesn't have hardly any rebounds. Simo, an unexpected source of points there in the half. 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting, and the lone board. Stoop Up said, my dad hated Jamel Martinez. I didn't think he was very hateable. We are still chilling on the court. There hasn't been anything happen on the court. So, Spider Chaw says, anyone have news on Denver Jones? He sustained an injury to his shin. We believe it's like shin or could be soleus. It's going to be like the lower leg, but not ankle. So I don't know if he got leg whipped or if he just like strained his soleus trying to not land on someone's foot, because he was kind of like in a defensive transition right in front of Janai. And he hasn't played since about maybe 6 or 7 minutes into the first half. So he's been out for a while. And I would be shocked if we saw him play at all. Tahad has been basically point guard every second since then. Although, to be fair, he plays off ball a little bit, and they let Chad run some stuff. I think just to kind of take some of the responsibility off Tahad and not feel like he has to play every single minute. You know some bullshit's going on here because it's just a bunch of house ads for ESPN, so they definitely have a problem here. We are back to action on the floor. UK missed a 3, and Tahad got the defensive rebound of all people. So now the rebounds this half for Auburn are Tahad and Simo. And Kentucky drove the hoop, and Garrison got foul, was called for the foul. So somebody's shooting free throws here. I'm not sure who. Auburn has hit 5 of its last 7 shots. It's Janai who's gone to the line, so they're loving this. They're loving this matchup between him and Mr. Garrison. And Janai has hit 1 of his free throws, so we'll go ahead and bump Auburn up to 71 here. He now has 7 points. Janai missed his second free throw, and Kentucky got the board. So 71-54 is where we're at right now with 11:14 to go in the game. I'm sure they're explaining on there what's going on. I'm just having to basically follow along with the stats that they have on the stat broadcast website. They're still showing Auburn has hit 5 of its last 7 attempts. Auburn overall is 23 of 45 from the floor, and the UK Wildcats are 15 of 37 from the floor, so that's 51% for Auburn and 41% for Kentucky. Rebounding margin has gotten really bad, 33-17 in favor of UK at this point. Kentucky scored on a layup, which gets them to 71-56 by their point guard. Chad came down on the other end and missed a jumper. And then Butler scored again for Kentucky, so it's now 71-58. Not a great time for Auburn people to not be able to watch this game. So I've got 71-58 with 10 minutes to go. And not Amaris, but Amari Williams just got a personal foul. So I'm trying to see... It says shooting foul. So I'm guessing if it's Amari Williams, it's going to be Janai probably back at the line here. My man, Feel Like a Stranger jumped in to say Ashley Judd got so mad she yanked the lead cable. She's very frustrated. I like that Spider Chaw said Billis is so annoying. We can't even hear him, and he's still annoying, right? CJ jumps in. What's up, brother? Jay Billis hates Janai so much he pushed the button. Push the button. We'll give you an applause for that. That's pretty funny. Okay, I'm sorry. I assumed earlier it was going to be Janai at the line, but it was not. It was Tahad. And Tahad hit both free throws, and it's now 73-58. We're going under the 10-minute mark now. For those of you who are jumping on the stream, they lost the feed in Rubberina, and so I'm basically just following along the stat site to try to give you guys an idea what's going on in the game. I've got 73-58 with 9:42 to go now. Butler was going for 3 scores in 3 trips, missed. Janai got the rebound. Chad Bacon Lasagna missed a 3, and then Chad fouled in the aftermath of the defensive rebound for Kentucky. So we're still at 73-58 at the 9:22 mark is where we're at. 73-58 at the 9:52 mark. Yo, Malcolm says JGT play-by-play. Not really my thing, but I am here to serve. Auburn has not had a bucket in just a little bit over 3 minutes. They better not just start covering this game, bro, because that's not going to be good enough for me. They better not start covering like this ice hockey game because I'm not doing that. All right, so Kentucky went down, and they missed their front end of a 1-and-1, and Tahad got the defensive rebound. So now Auburn's got possession on a counting clock, and we're headed toward the 9-minute mark. T-Roy, Tiger jumps in with a super chat, my man. He says, Coleman Light and Rupp Internet Fund. Oh, going back to last year when the Alabama game, the game at Alabama, I should say, in basketball was delayed by a light outage, and now we've got Rupp just problems. All right, someone in the chat says that Janai just hurt his shoulder. That's not good. And Spicy Pieces Broom just took himself out of the game. Oh, geez. Good news on other ends. Auburn had possession, as I mentioned, and Miles Kelly splashed one to get Auburn to 76. So that's good. We are now under 8. We are under the 9-minute mark. We're at 8:36, and wait, hold on. God, they jumped forward very, very fast. Okay. Miles Kelly hits the three. Kentucky turns the ball over. Miles, they immediately try to get a bucket. He missed the layup. Chaney gets the offensive rebound, I should say, in that situation, and sticks it back in. So Auburn goes to 78 on a Chaney Johnson stick back. And then OA, down on the other end, shot and missed. And then Miles Kelly got the rebound. We love it when Miles Kelly gets rebounds. And Kentucky now has not scored for 2.5 minutes. Auburn got possession, and then Chaney turned the ball over, and that's going to be a media timeout at 7:50. So it's 78-58 with about 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. I will go ahead and get the since we're under the 10-minute mark, I'm just going to go with the full game box here. We'll go back to that. And let me get these hot, fresh stats up for you guys. Come on, bro. Come on. I need you here with me, Big Daddy. All right, hot, fresh stats for the game coming up here. Those of you who are looking at these stats from before, like, those numbers look small. It was just for the second half, but now we're going to go to the full box here. 78-58 in favor of the Auburn Tigers, and when we resume play, it will be Kentucky ball after the Chaney Johnson turnover. So the numbers are, the trends, I should say, are still pretty much the same as they were. You've had some great individual performances. Miles Kelly having his best game of the season for Auburn anyway. 9 of 15 from the floor, 27 points. 8 of 12 from three-point range. He's been essentially unconscious. He banked in a couple early, and he's actually been just as good in the second half, honestly. Rebounding has been a major problem for the Auburn Tigers. Amari Williams has been eating everybody's lunch in the paint with 14 boards and 12 points. So he's been terrific for Kentucky, but he's been about it. Kobe Brea has been all right, but bottom line is Miles Kelly, Chad Bacon-Lasagna, and Tahad have just been so good. Who has not been great to this point has been Janai and Chaney. But it's been kind of more of the same from the first half. And also of note is that Denver hasn't played in a long time. He injured his shin or soleus muscle. I don't know if it was the front or the back of his leg. And he has not returned. And he went out probably halfway through the first half. So we haven't seen that. Kentucky was kind of narrowing the deficit there, and then now Auburn has gone on a 7-0 run right now. Kentucky has not scored a bucket. Let me rephrase that. Kentucky hasn't scored a single point in 2.5 minutes of game time. So when we resume, Auburn has got all the momentum in this one, and they've also got a 20-point lead with 7:50 to go. As we continue looking at not Auburn and Kentucky basketball, this is just a shame in the sense that this is potentially a momentous victory for the Auburn Tigers. First of all, could be the first win in Rupp Arena since the 80s. Also could clinch at least a piece of the SEC championship, regular season championship anyway, with a win here. And could upgrade to a straight-up win if Alabama loses at Tennessee later today. So what we are doing is the ABC has lost their feed, and I'm concerned now because even the stats aren't showing. I mean, it says there hasn't been anything happen since that media timeout, which feels like about 7 minutes ago. I'm not sure if that's an accurate representation of what's been going on here. Sam H says RIP Rupp Rafters, which is tough. It's gonna be carnage over there tonight, I assume. Although Kentucky's not like super awesome this season, so maybe they wouldn't be shocked by having difficulty against Auburn, but they don't necessarily have these kinds of problems at Rupp Arena. Small Victory says going back live now. Okay, they are picking back up. All right, so coming out of the timeout, Kentucky goes down and gets a jump shot. And that makes it 78-60 at the 7:37 mark. Still not having video of this game is kind of a bummer, particularly for the Auburn folks who would really like to have a chance to savor this one. So Auburn is on possession. We're getting down close to the 7-minute mark now. And there was a foul on not Amaris Williams, but on Amari Williams. We'll see if that ends up being a shooting situation or not. It is going to be a shooting foul. The last time Amari had a foul, it was Tahad was doing the shooting. By the way, Sir Turtle is in the game. So your lineup right now for the Auburn Tigers is going to be, I don't know. I'm sorry. Auburn's lineup right now is Tahad, Miles, Dylan, Cheney, and Turtle. Wow. That is definitely a big lineup right there. You don't have a lot of scorers on that lineup. I'm still waiting to see who's shooting free throws at this point. The answer is Cheney, and he hit the first one, so that makes it 79-60. This is about 7:15 to go in the game. Cassidy P jumps in to say, Kaywood Ledford wouldn't stand for this. I'm doing the best I can. I know that Kaywood Ledford would appreciate that. I did have a chance to meet him as a young student at University of Kentucky in 1997, I believe it was. It was right around the time that Tom Leach had taken over for him, and Tom Leach is a good dude too. Let's see, Cheney missed the second attempt, and Kentucky got the defensive rebound, which is kind of standard operating procedure for the day. Kentucky now has a 35-21 rebounding advantage, and Kentucky used that rebound to go down there and score, so it is now 79-62. And I would imagine we are now under the 7-minute mark. We are. That bucket went down at the 6:52 mark. So now you've got Auburn on possession. Auburn 50% from the floor today. Kentucky is 43%. Big difference is three-point shooting. Auburn is 48% with 11 made. Kentucky is 21% with 3 made. And despite all the fouls that have been called today, Kentucky is only +5 at the line. Have not been able to make that that advantage sing. Looks like some folks are watching the Auburn feed, basically the Auburn network feed, for lack of a better term. Small Victory says the courtside cam just moved to the court instead of just showing Andy. Madison joking that one of the following cut the damn feed. It's Amy with an I, Christy with an I, Candy with an I, could be Courtney with an I. You never know. They continue to have technical difficulties. This is really, really bad. Okay, so we when I last left you, Auburn had possession. They turned it over. It was Miles Kelly had the turnover. And then I guess in transition, it looks like Tahad fouled somebody defending in transition, and now it's Butler who is going to the line number 1 kind of like the stocky point guard, and he hits both of his free throws. So that's going to make it 79-64. Auburn leading. We're at the 6:26 mark now, and Auburn has possession. So I will keep you guys updated as to what happens with that possession. Those of you who are watching the Auburn stream may be able to give me a little bit more. We could kind of make this a team effort, honestly, because I got nothing. They're showing me like they're preparing for this Columbus Blue Jackets and Pittsburgh Penguins game is what I'm seeing. Small Victories gives us some good information that Gemini Broom, who checked himself out earlier, possibly with an injury, is back in, so that's great. That is good news. And Kentucky personal foul on Cody Brea. So somebody's going to be shooting here. It is a shooting foul. It is going to be Chad Bacon Lasagna shooting the free throws. He hits the first one to get Auburn to 80. And we're making a adjustment here with Chaney out and Dillon in. So Auburn's current lineup is going to be Tahad and Chad and Miles, and then you've got Janai and Cardwell going at it. So that's pretty much your number one group with Tahad playing point, with Denver obviously not available. And Chad hit the second one, so it's 81-64 now. $5:49 to go. Auburn has not had a bucket in 2:47, almost 3 minutes, but have scored at the line to kind of keep things churning. Miles Kelly defending now with Kentucky having possession, defending, and got called for a foul, so it's going to be a 2 free throw situation. I know you're shocked to hear that Kentucky is shooting more free throws. By the way, Kentucky is 25 of 32 from the line. The Auburn Tigers are 20 of 27. And we said in the Ole Miss game, I think Auburn shot approximately 30 free throws in that game. We thought, golly, that's a lot for Auburn. And here we are at 27. Kentucky missed their first free throw. Mentioning foul trouble. Let's see everybody that has foul trouble right now. Dillon has 4. He's had 4 for a while. Chaney has 3. Turtle has 3. Chad Bacon Lasagna has 3. And Janai has 3. But still, the only person with 4 is Dillon, and he's had that for a while. So something to think about there. There's a lot going on right now in this game because the plays are kind of popping real fast here. Long story short, it's currently 81-67 Kentucky. With 5:29 to go on a dunk. And then Janai came down and hit a bucket at the 5:29 mark to get Auburn up to 83. So Janai is back in the game, as mentioned by Small Victories, and he is scoring. So that's a good thing. And looks like Auburn called a timeout like midway through that defensive possession. It's confusing to me. It just says 30-second Auburn timeout. I still got 83-67 with 5:06 to go is what I'm showing here. I still don't have a feed, and I think the only folks that have a feed are going to be the ones that are watching. I guess, is that on Facebook, Small Victories? Where is that where you're watching that? See if I can find it myself. I might be able to add a little bit to it. I'm just not even sure where to look at it, like where to find it. God bless. I'll see what Small Victory says. YouTube. Okay, thanks. Thank you for that, brother. I'll try to find a way to get over there. Kind of odd. I'm streaming on YouTube, and I'm going to try to use YouTube to see the game. Sorry, we've never had this happen. We have had the stream go out before, but we've had it go out before, but I've never had it go out this long. And I guess ABC or ESPN has just absolutely punted on this. They've just said, nah, not going to happen. This doesn't help me very much, the courtside cam, because it's really literally like a Nokia cell phone. I can see that Kentucky has possession. It's 83-69 now. I'm going to probably punt on that. That doesn't really help me at all. And I will just keep up with the stat page. You're going to be surprised to hear this, but SEMO got in there and he turned the ball over. And then Kentucky turned the ball over. So we are getting close to the 4-minute mark now. Auburn's still ahead 14, 83-69. Kentucky has hit 4 of its last 5 shots, which is how they've been able to kind of grind back. They were down 20 not too long ago. And Tahad hit a bucket to get up to 19 points. So that moves it to 85-69. With 3:46, and Mark Pope calls a timeout. They had possession, and he called a timeout, so that's going to automatically turn into a media timeout, which means we can get some hot, fresh stats and take a gander at what we've got there. Let me go ahead and cut these up. Okay. I can't believe ABC's just completely given up on this. This is a huge failure. Now, I mean, it's like their national game of the day, and they just said, fuck it. We're just not going to we're good. These are the hottest and freshest and latest stats from the game. Tahad just had a bucket to get Auburn to 85, which is a hell of a lot of points to score in Rupp Arena. I mean, honestly. I mean, Auburn's a good scoring team, but considering you've got a full segment left, they're under the 3-minute mark. I'm sorry, excuse me, they're under the 4-minute mark, I should say. Officially, we are at, I think, 3:46 when we come back. CJ thinks it may be time for a danger zone. I would like to see Auburn get one more bucket. If they were to hold to get a stop on this next possession and then score, I would say, yeah. Felix the Cat, what's up, G? Wants to know what the hell happened. I don't know. P-Pass says Jim McKay is pissed. Is that like a joke? Did he get cut off like at one of his horse racing things and freak out? Or I love that they just completely gave up on the basketball game. They said, "No, we're just going to show." That's insane. Like, really? Just nothing? Soup Up says, this is the most Auburn shit ever. Let's give it the laugh right there. All right, let's see if we're back playing again. We're not. Still at 3:46 to go. Auburn up 85-69. Auburn had a little bit of a cold streak going there, but now they've hit 3 of their last 3 shots. I think Janai hit one. Tahad hit one. Let's see. Tahad hit 2 free throws, a dunk. Janai hit a bucket, and then Miles Kelly hit a 3 at the 15:59 mark. So Auburn's heated up a little bit there from a scoring perspective. Now remember that Kentucky, I think, was averaging 90 at home. They don't average 90 overall, but they average 90 at home. So this is definitely they're off the mark, and Auburn's defense, they're probably going to feel pretty good about how things are going there. We are still either in a timeout or nothing has happened on the court of significance statistically. So I'm still kind of waiting this up, and I am probably in the same spot that many of you guys are in that my feed is currently the Bruins and the I was going to say Pittsburgh Panthers, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I've got hockey on my TV. I do not have basketball, and this is very disheartening and pisses me off. Tahad just got called for a foul. That's his 4th. We're at the 3:28 mark. I'm sure Kentucky's going to be shooting free throws. Yeah, Felix the Cat says, Jay, they just gave up on the Auburn game. Yeah, I've never seen that before. They just said, nah, we're good. Like, Sacrifice says it's back on. Okay, where? Is it? Did they move it to like an ESPN network? Tell me where, and I will turn it on. It is definitely not on ABC. I promise you that. Oh, you guys are switching to ESPN Plus. Okay. I got you now. I can't remember if I have. I can't remember if I have that or not. I think I do, though. I have a hard time remembering like all the stuff that I have. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of stuck here. I'm trying to see if I can actually watch the game a little bit here, but it didn't give me Auburn straight up. Yeah, it's not coming up easily for me. God dang it. I don't understand why. I hate being live like this and not being able to see it. It sucks. Getting back to the statistical box here. Let's see. 87.70 is what I got with 2:53 to go. And I will tell you how they got to 87 here in just a second. Somebody must have hit a bucket. Oh, it's Tahad. Oh, let's see. Now it's saying it's not on ESPN Plus. Somebody said they were watching it. So Tahad hit that last bucket. He's having a hell of a game. 21 points on 6 of 9 shooting, 8 of 9 at the line. He is playing on 4 personal fouls, but he's got 3 assists and no turnovers. So you like that? That's just good news. Stu Pup jumps in with a super chat. My man says, my flabbers are so gasted right now. That's pretty funny right there. Come on, man. That's great. And Real Deal coming in from the greater Huntsville area, Huntsville, Alabama, I should say. Nobody's stopping us from letting us enjoy this moment. JG is always screaming. Appreciate you, Real Deal, for being here. And I hope that your wife put some spells on these ABC executives who made the decision to just punt the frickin' game. That's unbelievable, dude. And Jason says ESPN Plus is showing technical difficulties, so they can't get anything out. That's a sad situation. Sad state of affairs, as the kids would say. Kentucky called timeout after Tahad's bucket there. I guess they were on offense. They were on an attacking end, and they called a timeout. So I think we're back going again. We're under 3 minutes now at 2:45, and Cody Brea just hit a 3, so it's 87-73. At the 2:40 mark. I am still glad that I have not done the danger zone yet because it's still, I know it's 14 points is a pretty decent spread, but, 2:23 to go. There has been a foul by Kentucky. And Auburn's going to get a 1-and-1. I'm not sure who is going to be taking that shot. So you guys are like, sometimes you guys are able to get it on for a short period of time, and then it goes off again. So I guess what's happening, I would love to know the story on what in the hell happened there. To just lose a game for, 10 minutes? It's Chad Bacon Lasagna on the line. And he hits the first one of the 1-and-1, so he gets Auburn to 88 points. With 2:23 to go, we still got one free throw to go. Looks like Boston and Pittsburgh are pissed. They're fussing, not happy. Chad hits the second one, so it's now 89-73. With about 2:25 to go. JWM66, my man, jumps in with a super chat. No message offered and no message needed. Appreciate you, bro. Give you an applause for that. Thank you, sir. CJ says, now Jay's stream goes down, no sound. No, that's not a Jay problem. That's a CJ problem. Now we think it's back on again, blah, blah, blah. All right, so Chad on defense fouled. Mr. Garrison missed his first free throw. No, he missed the 1-and-1. Missed it. Kentucky gets the offensive rebound, shocking. Rebounding margin is still 36-21 in favor of Kentucky. Garrison gets fouled after he grabs his own rebound. And so he gets one free throw. And then Miles comes down and does what Miles does, which is one of these right here. And gets Auburn up to 91 on a Miles Kelly 3. This guy is just absolutely on fire. It's 92-76. I'm not exactly sure how, but we'll figure it out later. So that gets it to 92. I'm probably not counting right. And then Carr comes down and scores again for Kentucky pretty quickly to get it to 92-76. But here's the thing. Time's running out here. We got 1:42 to go, and they have just fouled. I would say if Auburn is able to hit a free throw here with this shooting situation, I would say that's probably danger zone, guys. I mean, you're already up 16. That would make it 17. Chad Bacon-Lasagna just hit the free throw to get it to 93-76. And I think if he hits this one, we're going to do it. Nick A. is calling for it. I think CJ was calling for it as well. Again, 93-76. You feel pretty good about it. And Chad goes ahead and hits that second one. He's got 22 points now. And Auburn now is up to 94-76. So I think, in my judgment and the judgment of our outstanding folks, believe it is time for the danger zone.
The danger zone. This is your redheads, your strippers, anyone named Tiffany. This is where your car gets keyed, you get a bunny in the pot, your tires get slashed, and you wind up in jail.
I think Kentucky's in the danger zone here, guys. Big time. 94-76 is what I've got. 1:31 to go. Kentucky goes down and misses a 3. And Chad Bacon-Lasagna gets the rebound. Then Auburn comes down, and Miles decides he's going to go for a heat check, and he missed. And Kentucky gets the defensive rebound. So now Kentucky's got the ball. They shoot a 3, and they miss it. And Janai gets the rebound. And this is definitely lights out for Kentucky. They are, I mean, guys, they've given up 94, and we still got a little bit of time left. You're just not going to win many games like that. Conversely, Auburn getting some outstanding individual performances today. Miles Kelly's just unconscious. Okay, so Auburn's possession with 32 seconds left. Tahad takes a 3. Kentucky gets the defensive rebound. And then Chandler goes the length of the court and gets a 2-pointer to get it to 78 for UK. So 94-78. We've got 19 seconds on the clock at this point, so I'm afraid Kentucky's got some problems here. The word is starting to pour in that Auburn has won this game. Don Proper-Dickin, who is actually on the radio from Holland, says it's over, and now officially on the stat sheet, it is over. 94-78 is the way this one's going to end, and Auburn breaks the curse. The curse of the Kalino. John Kaler, who hit the game-winning shot in 1988. And Auburn has not won and really hasn't been that close in Rupp Arena since. I was a sophomore in high school, and I'm an old man now, believe me. And now Auburn has finally claimed its very first win in Rupp Arena since 1988. And in so doing, clinches, at this moment anyway, at least a piece of the SEC regular season championship to be adjudicated later. Alabama's going to play at Tennessee here shortly. Actually, that game should be tipping, I think, around 4 o'clock. Could be 3. Time zones get me sometimes. And if Tennessee wins that game, Auburn's going to win the regular season championship. So, again, Bruce Pearl, an absolute G, doing an absolute G job at Auburn. And I can't believe that we live in a world where Auburn is in the best SEC that I have ever seen in my professional life, because we got more than half the teams in the league are going to make the tournament. This is a great year for the SEC, and for Auburn to be that much better than everybody else is just amazing. And I would say that, for regular season at least, it's the greatest Auburn team ever. I mean, you don't have that many SEC championships at all for Auburn. And to essentially dominate a league this year that is so good, it's crazy. And by the way, the records are now out of date as of the game ending. Auburn is now 27-2 and 15-1 in league play. They have 2 games left. They got to go to Texas A&M midweek, and then they finish out at home in the Neville Arena against the hated Alabama Crimson Tide. P-Pass says something about the 1999 Preakness when Jim McKay was freaking out about something I don't know. Heckhouse notes that Kentucky averages 90 at home. So that's an incredible defensive effort, and I completely agree. Let me go ahead and get the final stats out to you guys, because what I have there is just a little bit out of date. We had that for about 2 minutes left to go in the game. And let me get some final numbers up here for you guys as well. I see Auburn Tigers 1.3 points per possession. They hit their mark there. And there's the final numbers. I'll get these sized up for the page, so we can all read and keep up with our chat. 94-78. What a win for the Auburn Tigers. Let's see numbers that stick out. The one that really freaks me out on here is just to get crushed on the rebounding. 38-23. Cassidy P. What in the world is going on there, bro? It doesn't matter because you score 94 points and nobody gives a shit, but weird to lose the rebounding battle so badly. Auburn also 8 assists on 29 buckets, a really odd distribution right there. 8 assists and 8 turnovers. Almost went negative there for the first time maybe ever this season. But 8 and 8, fine, whatever. Kentucky goes 12 assists and 18 turnovers. Auburn finishes with 7 steals. Let's look at some peripheral numbers there. Bottom right, Auburn gets 1.32 points per possession, which they are going to be happy with. If they're at 1.3, they feel like they've done the job. 1.06 point per possession for Kentucky. From a defensive perspective, Auburn likes to keep it right under 1, and they're just incrementally over that. So really, statistically speaking, Auburn hit all of its marks in this one. 4 of 17 3-point shooting for the Kentucky Wildcats. Probably not quite what they were hoping for, and conversely, the Auburn Tigers go 12 of 26, including 5 of 10. 5 of 10 in the second half. They stayed hot. And I put on my tweet, I think it was, #stay hot. No, #get hot, #stay hot. And Auburn certainly did that today. Danny H. jumps in with a super chat, says, War Eagle, thanks for all you do for Auburn, Jay. I appreciate you, Danny. Thank you. Boy, that's a really loud clap, but you deserve it, brother. Thank you for being here with us on probably a less than exciting situation because the game was not able to be watched on TV as we were promised. And instead we're watching hockey, and we don't give a shit about hockey right now. We give a shit about Auburn winning the SEC championship. Let's see. Jordan says, today proved the guards can absolutely carry us in the tournament. What a team. Yeah, the guard play was great, and that's without Denver, who only ended up logging 8 minutes in this game after sustaining an injury to his lower leg. It doesn't look like a serious injury like he'd be out for the season or anything like that, but he did not come back. He was on the sideline like trying to push it and see if he could get it done. Donnie says quad 1 wins record set as well. I don't know how many that is now. It's probably 15, 16, something like that. Lenardi's moving Auburn up to the NBA play-in tournament. Come on, that's funny, guys. Good stuff, Donnie, like that. And also Spicy P, thank you for noting. Dylan Cardwell is now the winningest player in Auburn history. That is correct. He actually somehow, well, we know how he did it because he's still here, but when Jalen set that record last year, it was like, oh my God, that's an amazing achievement because he's been here so long and won so many games. And now Dylan's ahead of him and has several games still to be played. So very interesting. Small Victory says we owe Andy and friends beers for the courtside cam. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it, but whatever. And Jordan says they had no answer for Taha driving to the hoop. I hope he does more of that moving forward. Elite ball skills and quickness, he sure does. And Spicy P says, so if we win Tuesday, we'll secure the title. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think if Alabama loses today at Tennessee, I think that would clinch it for Auburn. I think. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. The SEC is usually really good about updating the standings like really, really fast. They have not, just as I compliment them, they have not updated them, but I will pull these up anyway. These are a little outdated, but it still gives us, a good look at what we're dealing with here. I will just temporarily take the box score off, and these are the standings coming into the day, because Auburn is now 15-1. So if Alabama loses at Tennessee and they fall to 12-4, they couldn't catch Auburn. There's only 2 games left. So if Tennessee wins tonight, that's a wrap. And if Alabama wins at Tennessee, then it just kind of goes into another day. Auburn's going to be playing at Texas A&M midweek. Alabama's got to play Florida, I believe, at home. Good luck with that. And then, of course, the regular season finale, I should say, is in Neville Arena, Auburn and Alabama. That would be pretty cool. My vision was always that Auburn was going to be able to clinch it with that game against them in the regular season finale. But I'm good with it happening before that. That'd be fine too. So big game tonight now for everybody in the chat. I imagine it's 99% Auburn folks in the chat at this point. Gotta have a Tennessee win in that one, and that would finish it out. That game starts at either 3 or 4 o'clock. So I don't know if you guys are serious about it. Melee says the SEC also had a generator fire. I don't know what that means. I see what you're saying. Okay. Sometimes I can't tell if you guys are kidding or not. When I lose my visuals, I don't never know what to believe. G. Curry is absolutely right. Auburn clinched at least a share with the win against Kentucky. So that's in the books. That is done. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a huge W. Although it's something that we've been, kind of watching unfold all season long. Let me go back to the box score and just talk a little bit about some crazy stuff that was going on today. Miles Kelly finally had his breakout game as an Auburn Tiger anyway. 30 points on 10 of 17 shooting and 9 of 14 from 3, which is absolutely insane. That's like some Tay Waller business right there. He was just an absolute animal, and he had, I think, 17 in the first half and then 13 in the second half, so he remained consistent and had some pretty key buckets, if you want to call it key. I mean, they were up big, but when they were having a little bit of a scoring stall around the 7-minute mark, he came in and hit a couple more and just pushed Auburn further ahead. As mentioned by several in the chat, including Spicy P and also Feel Like a Stranger, Tahad gets 21 points on 6 of 10 shooting. One of his best games as an Auburn Tiger. 8 of 9 at the line, 4 assists and no turnovers. I mean, sterling performance. And he had to have it because with Denver out, it changes the dynamic at point guard big time. Chad can be kind of a de facto on-ball too, and he did some of that tonight, so congratulations to him. The fact that he was able to keep his scoring numbers good, 22 points on 6 of 12 for Chad tonight, and also be an on-ball too and handle some of that responsibility as well. It's good that he's like 25 years old and he's played a bunch of basketball, but he came in big today because with Denver out for the final 30-something minutes of the game, if that would have happened in November, I think it could have been a problem. But Tahad now has the experience to kind of transition into a full-time point guard. He got 33 minutes today and he absolutely balled out. I mean, to me, that's an A-plus performance for him. 21 points, 4 assists, and no turnovers in 33 minutes. I mean, guys, come on, man. That's an A+. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm missing some of these jokes, guys. It's hard when I'm running the show, and I just feel like I'm always behind. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm usually good with your jokes. I usually catch them, but I'm being slow as hell today. I'm sorry. Boy, chat's absolutely blowing up. Everybody's fired up. I love it. I love to see all you guys having a great time with this. Because, I mean, when we got going in November, we were like, I don't know, the team looks pretty damn good. Let's see what happens, And then they lost to Duke, and it was like, fuck, that kind of sucks. And then, they've just been rolling ever since. And that one loss to Florida, where Florida had kind of a unique, a novel approach to kind of tricking Auburn into some defensive mistakes with kind of a short roll concept off the high ball screen. And Auburn didn't really find a good way to defend that. And they executed it well, shot the ball really well. Aside from that, damn near perfect, guys. 15-1 in league play in the toughest SEC ever. Unbelievable, man. PPAS, another great point. This is big that multiple players had 4 fouls and nobody fouled out. Nobody disqualified. Dylan picked up his 4th about midway through the second half, I should say. Finished with 21 points. He did not foul out. Did not help a lot either. 0 points. Did not take a shot, which is not super unusual, but 3 rebounds in 21 minutes probably isn't quite enough. Also no blocks, but, okay, whatever. It didn't really matter because Miles, Chad, Tahad were going absolutely off. Janai almost gets back up to double digits. He had 1 point in the first half, finished with 8 in the second half to get him to 9. Sorry, I had some text coming in there. But it's amazing that Auburn could have such a triumphant victory. I mean, this is a no-doubter, with Janai finishing with 9 and 6. So pretty amazing. I did not expect it to go down this way. I did think I thought Auburn was probably an 8 points better than Kentucky in general, but I just didn't trust that they would be able to go to Rupp. I've seen a lot of good Auburn teams go to Rupp and get knocked down, particularly that 99 team that I thought was really ready to roll, got hit pretty good there. And the 19 team, which you could argue is the greatest Auburn team ever, got just dismantled in Rupp Arena. Actually, I think that was the flashpoint for that team, that they got killed in Rupp, and I think it forced them to ask, kind of look inward for answers in the aftermath of that booty blasting. And they ended up going on to the Final Four, obviously, and I do think that that loss at Kentucky galvanized them for that late season push. Chris M. speaking some truth. Janai with 9 points and 6 rebounds. If you only knew that stat, you'd think UK would have run us out of the arena. That's absolutely true. Let's see. Donnie says, beat and embarrassed Kentucky so bad that ABC had to cut the feed. Billis goes, guys, I just can't do this anymore. Bam, bam, gone. And Neil J says, let's hope this is the beginning of a great month of March. My man, there he is. Neil, my man. I'm looking forward to you being able to follow along with this. The good news is that depending on how the schedule goes in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, sometimes the games are early in the day, so that's very catchable for you. Like, I mean, he's over in Scotland, so maybe, like let's say Auburn's playing at the 1 o'clock tip in the NCAA tournament, he can catch that, pretty easily. You'd love to see it. Mobile alum just gives us a War Damn Eagle. I know you're fired up, young lady, to see Auburn win another regular season title. Melee says, after a game like this is when rumors of stories of boosters paying our best players would come out back in the day. Yeah, it's about that time, huh? Like when Jason Campbell broke his leg before the Iron Bowl. We've heard a lot of those tales through the years. Letter grades on this one. I don't think we have Chip because he's celebrating his birthday with some fried fish, which sounds pretty damn good. But anyway, Denver, you have to give him an incomplete, not really his fault. Injured his lower leg and only played 8 minutes. It was not available for the last, while. 3/4 of this game. Janai, not a good game for him. 9.6 boards. Had a terrible first half. I would still, the fact that he stayed in the game, I thought his defense was better in the second half. He played better than in the second half. I would still give him a C. Chad Bacon Lasagna, A. 22 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 9 of 10 from the line. Again, played on ball too, some to kind of take some of the pressure off to Hod. 1 assist, 2 turnovers, no big deal. 3 steals, definitely got Auburn out in transition a few times. To me, that's an A, maybe an A minus. But I thought he was a pillar of the community for this game. I thought he was huge, and they needed him to be big. I feel like a stranger jumps in with a super chat, said, I just heard from a source and now know why the feed cut out. Billis's tears shorted out the board. Desperado mentioned, did he hurt his shoulder? Probably talking about Janai. I did not see it, but apparently he checked himself out with what looked like a shoulder injury, and then he checked himself back in, and he was playing at the end. So I'm assuming he's good. We'll try to see it. You know, Stolte's there at the arena. Maybe we'll see if he has anything he can report about that at a later point here, because it's kind of chaos after a game like that at Rupp. Still doing grades, position grades. For me, Chad gets an A. Miles Kelly, A+. I don't know what else to tell you. He was an absolute menace for UK. And every time Auburn needed some punch, he was there. 30 points on 10 of 17 shooting, 9 of 14 from 3. Just a one-man dominating situation there. 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Don't care about the peripherals. I care about 30 on 9 of 14. Just an absolute assassin. And these are the kind of games that I thought Miles would do more of when he came over from Georgia Tech, because they used him kind of incorrectly. I thought at Georgia Tech, too much on-ball shit, and I think he's a good off-ball rhythm shooter, which is the way Auburn's been using him, and I think he's been better at Auburn. I thought he'd have more games like this. Maybe not quite this good, but, I thought he'd have more 20-point games. But anyway, a masterpiece. A+ for him. Dylan, 0 points, 3 rebounds in 21 minutes. Probably a C. I still think that his defensive presence changes shots at the rim, even if he doesn't get his hands on them. He forces Lamont Butler or not Amaris, but Amari Williams to make different angles with their shots, and I think he affects shots more than the stats show. So I am still willing to give him a C, even though the counting numbers aren't there. To Hod Pettiford, guys, A+ for me. He's the player of the game for me, even though Miles had more points, and I thought Miles played just amazingly today. I give him an A+, but I also give to Hod an A+. 21 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 8 of 9 at the line, 4 assists, no turnovers in 33 minutes. Stayed in the game despite having foul trouble. I thought it was amazing. With Denver out, everybody on earth knew he had to step up and be the full-time point guard, and he did that, and he did it well. And to me, just an amazing performance, his best performance of the season. You've got 2 guys, 2 important players, Miles and Tahad, playing their best games of the season at the same time in a clutch situation. You love to see it. And that's the kind of thing that gets you to a lopsided win in Rupp. Simo, 12 minutes, which is actually a lot for him. 5 points. He scored on back-to-back possessions for the first game probably in his Auburn career. So I'm going to give him a B, even though I didn't think he did a whole lot other than that. But that was pretty cool. And also want to give him a on fire just for fun.
He's on fire!
We joke that anytime he scores, he's on fire because statistically it's so unlikely. Back-to-back possessions today for him. Turtle plays 3 minutes. He had 1 shift. Might have had 2 quick shifts. 0 points, 3 fouls. I just give him an incomplete. 3 minutes. And Chaney, not a great game from Chaney. 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting, 3 boards, no assists, and 2 turnovers. So for me, that's probably a D. And he's been so good the last 5 or 6 games, but tonight did not have it. But I think he had a couple free throws. No, he had 1 free throw there late. That was key. So, I give him a D reluctantly just because I think, it's a huge win and I don't want to give anybody too much trouble, but yeah, D for him. But again, the story of the game, Tahad playing the best game of his career, Miles playing his best game at Auburn, and they put Kentucky away. That's 51 points right there. Sam H jumps in with a super chat to say, don't ever cut the brain drain feed. The brain drain feed, excuse me. Great day, Warren Amigo. Appreciate you, Sam. Always being here always part of a pillar of the community. One of the key members we've got, a real titan here. Sam's with us football season, basketball season. Shit, if we did equestrian ones, I bet you would jump on those as well. We actually thought about doing a men's golf one last year. We should have done it. And we may have an opportunity yet to do it this year. Auburn men's golf won a national title last year, and people were asking for me to do a stream. And I know so little about golf, that's the truth, that I'm not even sure I could do a stream. But that might be the part of the fun of it. So, yeah, we'll think about that. Let's see what else people are talking about in the chat. Let's see. Chris M says, I propose that Miles Kelly henceforth be known as the Generator because he caught fire at Rupp. My man, Chris M. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Desperado says, Miles won this game for Auburn, but we needed Tahad also. I think that's fair. Again, I give both guys A+. So if it's, hey, man, I thought Miles is a little bit better than Tahad, I'm on board with that. I ain't hating that. Melee says we showed that even if you take away our bigs, we still pound you. That's right. Kentucky comes into the game. Surely one of their goals was, hey, we got to limit Janai Broom's effectiveness on the scoring end because when he's allowed to just run free, it's trouble, right? And they get what they wanted there. I mean, Janai gets 9 points on 3 of 9 shooting. Probably his worst game, maybe of the season, except for the one game where he got hurt against Georgia State. But for a really full game for him, 33 minutes, he didn't do much at all. And yet Kentucky gets absolutely throttled at home. Brian G says, JG, what do you think about Auburn Sports Network showing the final seconds of that game? I didn't get to see it. I just didn't have a chance to see it. I switched over there with like 5 minutes to go, and the shot wasn't going to help me for the job I was doing here. So I think it's cool that at least Andy and the guys, maybe Brad, whoever, turned it around so you guys could see the court instead of just them. But look, man, the problem here is ESPN/ABC not being able to come through and keep the freaking game on to see Auburn win or to clinch at least a portion of the SEC championship. That's crazy. I still don't understand how that happens, but that's for another day, I guess. Poppy, my man, jumps in and says cheese and bacon lasagna is damn good. Try it sometime. There he is, Poppy Clan, one of our favorites, who's with us a bunch here. And Chris says, too bad Auburn Network was using a Ring doorbell cam. Hey, man, it was just for Andy. The goal was just to show Andy and Coach Randall, I reckon. So, wow, what a big win, though. And one that I have never seen. I have personally never seen Auburn beat Kentucky in Rupp Arena. You know, I was in high school and I was a Louisville fan at the time, so I wasn't paying 1 ounce of attention to that. So Chris M says it was a generator fire and their broadcast truck lost power. I didn't know if that was a joke or like it's some joke that's like something that happened a long time ago. But you're telling me that actually happened. An actual generator fire. I mean, god dang. I'm guessing that if it was a generator fire, that could have done some real damage. Like, I know it wrecked the broadcast, but beyond that, that stuff is so. I've been back in those areas where those trucks are and all those cords are, and I mean, if something did catch fire, you could do a lot of damage in a hurry because that stuff's all packed in like just a matter of 2 or 3 or 4 square feet. You get a fire in there, and you're going to do hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage in a hurry. So, yeah, that's crazy. He says when they came back on for the last few minutes on ESPN News, that's what they said. I missed the last few minutes, huh? Okay, let's see. Solo Tigre says Denver has a bone bruise on the ankle. BP said they had it x-rayed, so that's good. AU Taxman says he's on fire.
He's on fire!
That's for the generator that's on fire. And Kyle L says, no backup generator for ESPN, really? Right? The worldwide leader in sports, but not the worldwide leader in fire prevention. No, they never claimed to be that. So if they had an x-rayed, which they probably have an x-ray machine, an antiquated one, but one that it's an x-ray machine. You don't need anything real. You don't need the latest and greatest for an x-ray. They probably had that in Rupp, and I'm sure that came back negative. So the good news is that Denver's probably just hurting right now. And actually, a bone bruise makes me feel better than a soleus strain because I think a bone bruise is probably something he can fight through even quicker. I mean, that might he may have to sit out the A&M game. But, I mean, truth be told, if Auburn, let's say Tennessee beats Alabama later today and Auburn clinches the full outright title to the SEC, I'm not sure it matters that much, right? Like, yeah, just sit him out for the Texas A&M game, and maybe he plays against Alabama, maybe he doesn't, but it's not going to really matter. I still would like for Auburn to continue to kick ass, though. I think that'd be good just to kind of finish out this regular season with, continuing to play the basketball that they've been playing, right? Wow. I still can't believe Auburn just damn near ran the table like they have. It's so difficult to do this year, considering the relative strength of the league. Just insane. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Auburn's schedule here so we can take a look at this and just kind of gawk at it because it's really been something. Just Auburn's work in the SEC, which started off with that win against Missouri, which, such a strange game in the sense that Missouri ends up being pretty damn good. I mean, they're definitely top half of the SEC, I think, in a tough year, And that should have been right there. If I had respected Missouri as I should have, that should have told me right there that Auburn was for real, right? So here's Auburn's SEC schedule with that one loss, home loss to Florida, in a game that Florida was just doing something there to kind of flummox Auburn on the scoring end. For Auburn to give up 90 at home is so unusual. Auburn scores 90 at home a bunch, but doesn't give up that many usually. And to finally get that road win against Kentucky. I did not count this up, but I'm guessing, because BP's, I believe his last win at Rupp Arena coaching any team was 2006. I would estimate that he lost probably 5 in a row to close out his tenure at Tennessee at Rupp, and he's probably lost 5 or 6. We'll say 5 at Auburn, so he may have lost 10 in a row at Rupp himself. Jordan W. says, big LOL at Kansas. What do they do? Kansas is not great this year by any stretch. I was looking them up the other day, and because Floyd Badunga, young man from Indianapolis, ended up choosing Kansas over Auburn at the last minute. And when I see things like that, I'm always like, hope you're happy. Kansas is playing at home to Texas Tech today. So what's going on with that one, Jordan? Donnie says Denver's middle leg kept getting in the way of the x-ray. Come on, we got a soundbite for that, man. Don't we? We don't?
If I come in here look swole and big and strong and tough, y'all gonna give me that award, right?
Yeah, we're close enough. We can do it with that. Jordan says they just threw the ball out of bounds, down 3 with 20 seconds left. Oops. I mean, I hope Floyd Badunga's having a great year at Kansas. I hope he's having fun. I hope he has a really hot girlfriend. I hope that he's getting paid out the ass. I hope that he's like best friends with DeJuan Harris. I mean, I hope he's just having a great, great season. Like, just personally, because he's not having a great season on the court. Let me rephrase that. He's playing fine, but his team sucks. And, he had 0 points the other night against Colorado. And he hasn't had double digits since he played Gus in January 28th. So I wonder if Floyd Badunga is going to end up transferring. I think he got to come here personally. But, Jordan W. says, Flory, bad choice, my guy. I mean, again, maybe he has a really hot girlfriend. Maybe he really loves the pizza out there. I mean, who knows? Sometimes there's a lot of things that can go really well, even if you're in a small place. I mean, listen, guys, I went to Transylvania University. I ended up meeting a girl named Courtney. She ends up being my wife 30 years later. I did fine. Of course, I'm cross-eyed and ugly, but, aside from that, it's all fine. Hilljack says, go Big Blue, BLEW. We like it. And let's see. Feel Like a Stranger says, Hunter Dickinson is one of the most overrated players that is actually skilled that I can remember in a while. I remember watching him the other night. Who were they playing? I'm watching Kansas play somebody, and I thought, is that guy supposed to be good? Because I don't pay attention to Kansas at all. Yeah, because he's really tall and lanky. He looks kind of like Tyler Eady. Is that his name? That was at Purdue last year. I mean, he's kind of like that. except Edie's. No, Zach Edey. My bad. So Zach Edey, he isn't as good as Zach Edey, obviously, but anyway. Jordan says, haha, they had another chance to tie and threw up an air ball. Oh, we got a sound for that one. Terrence says, you going to give that award? That was part of AI's practice rant. That interview, which ESPN, thank the Lord, has put it up on. The full interview is on YouTube now, which is like 15 minutes long, and it's amazing. And my favorite part of it, Terrence, there's a lot of really good parts of it, but my favorite part is about 5 minutes into it, the sports information director from the 76ers goes, okay, guys, enough, because he had just gone on his practice rant. And AI turns to her and goes, no, they've got questions, and I'm going to sit here and answer every last one of them. Let's go. And I was like, my man, that's what I'm talking about. He understands our job. He thought the questions were fair. He had some shit he wanted to talk about, right? Because he felt like he was being disrespected by the organization. That interview went on 10 more minutes. And he went into a whole thing about how his friend had died, and he was going through a lot of tribulations, and it just brought, to me, it made me a fan of AI for the rest of my life, and I don't care what anybody else says. The guy's a badass, and he was going through a lot of stuff, and I appreciate him taking the time to explain the situation. Still one of the greatest interviews ever, and not just because of the practice thing. It was because of the whole thing together. Jordan says, JG, think today locks up the number 1 overall seed. Do I need another win? Does Nashville even matter? I think for optics, you probably want to finish out strong here, just what you see on the screen. My feeling is that if Auburn splits these 2 games, whatever it takes, I don't really care which way it goes. I'd obviously rather beat Alabama, but I think one more win solidifies the number 1 overall seed. I think that Auburn's already solidified a 1 seed. Overall, number 1, I think they need one more win. I'd like on this screen right here. I don't think Nashville matters. I don't. And the history has been that, with the exception of bubble teams, the top teams, the top seeds, they don't really seem to give a shit about what goes on in the conference tournaments, the seeding, the tournament selection committee. Chris M says Tennessee's up on Alabama early. That game did start at 3 o'clock. I had a feeling that I was wrong on the time zone there, and I'm glad that you're here to give me some updates. Thank you, sir. So I think Auburn's got the 1 seed locked up for the NCAA tournament. I think they need another win to lock up the overall number 1 seed. I'm not sure it matters a ton. Maybe it gets St. John's out of their bracket. That would be great. That's a team that I personally am concerned about. Although I brought that up the other day to some beat writers, and they kind of laughed me off and said those guys can't score enough. I'm not worried. And I wanted to play this soundbite for them right there, because I'm telling you, some of these young kids don't understand.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
I have seen better teams lose in the tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like, this Auburn team is nuts, and it's got a lot of players, and it's set up for a fucking run, believe me, particularly if Denver comes back and everything's Gucci. But don't ever say that, man. I'm telling you, when stuff gets going crazy in the tournament, it does not matter what you've done. All that matters is that you can solve your own problems. That's all that matters. And I trust Burgo and Coach Stephen Pearl and BP and Coach Ira to get this stuff straightened out. But it's more than just coaches figuring shit out. It's players got to execute it, and players also got to understand what's got to be done. So I personally like that Auburn. I feel confident myself that Auburn can fix its own shit in the middle of a game, because we've seen it happen before. When you look at some of these games right here, I'm just kind of spitballing here. Missouri game was a blowout as Blowout City. The Texas game was a grinder. And there were periods there with 5 minutes to go that I thought Auburn was going to lose that game. Auburn was up huge against Texas, almost lost the entire lead on the road. This is before we realized Texas was kind of mediocre, and found a way to put their foot down and finish it off. The South Carolina game was a grinder all the way through. They found a way to be basically a bucket ahead in that game. Mississippi State, they just crushed them. The Georgia game, they should have won that by more. They were up 9 with like a minute to go. Damn near pissed it away, but found a way to win. The Tennessee game was just a rock fight. The LSU game was kind of tight, a little bit past halftime, and then Auburn put their foot down. I was always concerned about Auburn winning over at Ole Miss. They had some mistakes defensively in that game. They lost track of Padula, but he still scored 92 on the road, and then they scored another 106 on them. So apparently the Ole Miss Rebels switching defense doesn't bother them very much. If there's anything here that would concern me that I've seen on this screen, it would have been Georgia's switching zone, which they played in Athens, was a problem for Auburn. There's not many teams that can play a switching zone. But that's something I never felt like Auburn had a really good feel in that game. They were up 9 again with a minute to go, so that should have been enough, but I don't know. Arkansas game was a rock fight, but that's at home. The game in Alabama was terrific. Vanderbilt, they were just better than Vanderbilt, even though Vanderbilt is usually really tough in Memorial Gym. The Florida game, to me, doesn't really stand out. It reminds me a lot of Duke losing at Clemson. Similar loss margin, similar kind of game. And then winning it up, huge. I like what this team's accomplished. You guys like what this team's accomplished, and I feel like they've got it. They've got a lot of players. They got a lot of experience. They have great coaching. They never get outfoxed. I guess they got outfoxed a little bit in that Florida game. That's kind of a special situation, though, right? I mean, that's a former assistant who happens to be essentially a genius when it comes to strategy. They talked highly of him when he was here. They relied on him a lot when he was here. He's part of the reason that Burgermaster's as good as he is, because he worked with Todd. I mean, Burgermaster was still coming of age at that time. He's now a fully formed badass. But you know what I'm saying. Jordan said, thanks, Jay. Appreciate the answer. Always a pleasure, my man. Any other teams that you would prefer to be on the other side of the bracket from Auburn? Great question. So let's take a look at Ken Palm. I wish I could kind of pull this stuff up for you guys more easily. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull a graphic of the top 30 teams in Ken Palm. It's probably going to take one of the top 30 teams to beat Auburn, is my opinion. I know Yale. You say Yale, man. I mean, it's such a weird deal with Yale last year. I don't know what the deal was with that. I mean, Auburn was still way better than Yale. I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, Duke's a problem, but that you're not going to have to deal with Duke or Houston or Florida or Tennessee. I mean, these are all going to be in another. This is all going to be like regional final type stuff. You know, Louisville, I don't trust them because they're new to the scene in a sense. They had 3 wins 2 years ago. Three total. And they've gotten a hell of a lot better. They got a much better coach. Pat Kelsey is much better. He's got better players in there, but I think they're going to get into trouble in the tournament. They're not going to know how to fix it. Illinois at 18-11 is a lurking giant. I think they're way better than that. They've got like the most acute flu going through their team right now, and they're down like half their team, and the other half the guys don't feel good, but they're playing. And so Illinois looks like they're sputtering, and they're not. They're a good team. You guys know how I feel about A&M. I don't give a shit about Kansas. St. Mary's is going to be one of those teams that'll shoot the 3, and they don't care. They're not scared, and they just play like balls out. Clemson scares me to some degree. Maryland does not scare me. Purdue, Braden Smith's a badass, but I still don't worry about him. St. John scares the shit out of me. I keep thinking Iowa State's going to click, and they kind of don't. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma State the other day, and I'm like, what are y'all doing losing to Oklahoma State? They're way better than them. Arizona doesn't scare me very much. Missouri does, but now we're up into the good teams. Marquette's a problem. St. John's is just like, the thing about St. John's is they're just so long. Like you see them, like they're just long and they're like spiders. UConn kind of, because Dan Hurley like gets the most out of his ball club, you know, but I don't see him enough. I watched them play. I got really excited to watch them play Creighton because I knew that was going to be a good team, a good situation. They had to play at Creighton, and when I'm watching them, like in that game, it's just one game. They look like a really good team, but they lose a lot of I mean, they lose all the time. So I don't know what to tell you on that. There's also a team in here that scares the shit out of me that you don't see on your screen right now, but it's San Diego. It's UC San Diego. The Tritons. They're number 36 in Ken Palm. They haven't lost since January 18th. They've won like 10 in a row. And yeah, they're playing a bunch of schools that you guys didn't even know existed, but they look pretty good to me, man. They got a good defense. They force turnovers. They shoot the three. They defend the three. That's the kind of team that like ends up getting like a 5 seed or a 6 seed, and they will fuck you up, man. New Mexico concerns me. Again, not like I'm scared of them, like terrified, but like if they're a 10 seed or something, like you could get them in like a second round or whatever, and they're like, they will fuck you up, man. They play defense. And that's Richard Pitino. That's Rick Pitino's kid. You know what I mean? That would concern me. I'm so stoked we're going to go into an NCAA tournament and you feel like you're going to absolutely tear some, you're going to punch some people in the face. Like even that 19 team that went to the Final Four, we did not go into the tournament thinking we were going to beat ass. It was like, Auburn obviously played great in the tournament that year, and the SEC tournament. And you're like, okay, it's building. We're building toward a crescendo, right? And you got Jared, and you've got Bryce, and you've got Chuma playing great, and you got Samir as like your sixth guy, and you've got people. But you go in and you're like, everything's great, and then you get in that New Mexico State game, and you're like, holy shit! Like it was so close, and they got away with what 2 or 3 points in that game. Did not think they were going to continue just killing, and I kept thinking about the UK game in that year in 19 where they got blown out in Rupp. So I didn't go in like thinking the world is ours, But this time I will. I kind of did last year in a way, right? I mean, I definitely thought they were going to dig a lot deeper last year. I feel like a stranger says UConn, just not near as talented as the previous couple of years. I feel like they rely on that one, like their star player, way more than they have in the past. They used to have, like Castle, and they had some other guys they could lean on, 2 or 3 guys. I feel like it's that one freshman that's just like their big guy. And you can stop one person. That's why Auburn is so dangerous, because it's not one person. Janai is the best player, I think, but then now you've got Tahad making a strong case for being the second best player on this team. Miles, to me, is still kind of a peripheral dude, but when he has a 30-point game, I mean, God bless. Chad he has such an incredibly broad base of skills where he can shoot, he can rebound, he can defend. He's a decent ball handler. He's a good passer. Like he does a lot of stuff. Auburn has so many different guys. You can't stop one. You have to have like a paradigm approach to stopping Auburn. It's not a guy. It's a concept. We've got to do better we've got to funnel screen. We got to ice screens. We got to funnel screens out instead of letting them drive inside. You can't just say, we'll just double Janai Broom and it'll be fine. No, that is not how it works. That is not a successful approach to stopping the Auburn Tigers at all. Solo Tigre says, I don't know. I think most Auburn fans thought we were the hottest team in the country going into the tournament in 19, which is true. I could see that. The way they just absolutely put their head down and dragged skulls through the SEC tournament, and then absolutely pimped Tennessee in the title. They looked great. So you may have a point, and my old man age may be showing on that one. I just kept thinking about the Rupp game. I just kept thinking about them getting drubbed at Rupp, and I thought, they're always at risk for falling flat on their face. But they didn't. Even when they lost, they did not fall flat on their face. Brian says ESPN is showing the Alabama-Tennessee game. Wow. And they didn't want to show the Auburn-Kentucky game. Always find a way, man. Dicks. Yeah, I could have had Alabama-Tennessee on this whole time, and I've got hockey on. Who cares? Well, it's the kind of game I figured it would be. If you're playing at Tennessee, it's a rock fight. It's a fist fight. It's 11-9, 14 minutes to go in the first half. Yeah, Jordan. I probably think about that once a week. He says, I know we talk about it a good bit, but man, what could have been in 2020? Samir and Okoro had that team rolling. Samir was off his ass, man. He was playing some great ball late. And, I mean, Isaac is just such a pain in the ass defensively all the time. P-Pass, I like hockey sometimes. I just don't feel like it on a championship Saturday, That's all. Yeah, that 2020 team, man. I mean, there's probably other people that think that, though, about their own team, whether you're a Kansas fan or a Duke fan. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to those goobers, but I loved where Auburn was positioned that year. I loved where they were. Samir, Austin Wiley, Javon was playing great. Isaac was great. I was going to say Kevon. D'Angelo Purifoy at the end there. McLemore is last year. I know he wasn't what he was. He still had Dev. Excuse me. He still had Dev, who was like the super, super poor man's Miles Kelly. Al Flanagan was still playing back then. That was his freshman year. I mean, you had players, man. Jalen Williams was a freshman that year. You had a lot of dudes. And they were probably going to do something in the tournament. I mean, almost certainly we're going to go Sweet 16 that year. Your lineup, your typical lineup there was Javon, Samir, Okoro, McLemore, or Purifoy at power forward, which is actually a good BP power forward, right? Kind of a long transition-y guy, although Mac was like so good at the pick and roll roller and hitting those threes. That's before he broke his ankle or whatever. And then Austin Wiley, who's probably going to end up being almost forgotten in a way. I mean, because I never hear anybody talk about Austin Wiley anymore. But he was a good player. So this is on a similar note. If NIL comes into play earlier, is JT Thor still at Auburn and on this team? Interesting. Did he care so little for school that he was going after 1 year regardless? JT was a situation where he had some people around him that I think really, really wanted him to make money. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily think it was like for the wrong reasons. When you hear somebody say that, like when I say that, oh, yeah, people around him that wanted him to make money, you almost feel like they're taking advantage of him. I didn't necessarily feel that way. I just felt like they felt like he was in a situation where his best basketball was ahead of him, and it would make sense to go make money while you get up to speed rather than being at Auburn where you don't make money. So as for what you're saying, yes, I think in this era he would have stayed at Auburn another year because he could have made whatever, I mean, $250,000, $350,000 at Auburn, which is approximately what he made the G League anyway. And I think he might have gotten better development here than he got where he was or where he ended up going. So, he's kind of been one of those guys that like is probably too good for the G League, but not quite good enough for the NBA. And he kind of gets stuck there in the middle. Kind of sucks, but at least he would have gotten another $250,000 or more to play at Auburn. I don't know. I do think he would have been here longer, and that's a good question, Solo. That's the kind of stuff I expect from you in the chat because you're always coming up with good shit like that. All right. That's probably enough, guys. We've gone 3.5 hours, and we didn't even have basketball for the last, 7 minutes of the game. Janai was about to put a bucket in with his left hand, and it went blue. The screen went blue. It went Kentucky blue, I should add. Not that pretty Auburn dark blue, but that light blue. And we lost the damn game. My man JB, DC Elite, says that Jackson Robinson, who did not play in the game today for UK, is now out for the season. He's going to have surgery on his wrist. That's going to hurt Kentucky. They're done. They're cooked. Afraid they're cooked. Chris M says, Aiden just bricked 3 straight free throws.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Sorry, I was a little loud there, my guy. Let's see. Solo said I could drain till 1 a.m. beaches for this team. I appreciate that about you, bro. I do appreciate that about you. I think we've already discussed this game against Texas A&M, which is going to be on Tuesday this week is a 8 o'clocker or 9 o'clock for our friends in the Eastern time zone. So it's going to be a late one on the ESPN. That could be or should be an interesting one. They're playing Florida in Gainesville today, and if they lose that game, Texas A&M is going to be on a 4-game losing streak, which is crazy to me. They're pretty good to be losing 4 in a row. They got Vanderbilted the other day. Vanderbilt was up big on them in College Station. Ended up being a very narrow game at the end, but they lost it. So I kind of wonder if they're going to get really pissed off and put it all together for one of these games. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see. Jordan is pretty fired up to see Aiden miss some free throws. Nobody's upset about that over here. Russell says, fantastic drain, JG. Great day, drainers. Russell, I appreciate you being here wire to wire with us today. And making the chat better. It's the best chat in all of YouTube. There's no doubt about it. This has been proven time and again. Chris M. said, heading over to the Jane shortly to see some women's baseball. It's a beautiful day to be watching some women's baseball. Literally, the conditions here in central Alabama are perfect. It's sunny. It's probably mid-70s. It's just wonderful. Jordan says, appreciate you, Jay. Thank you, Jordan, for your play-by-play on Kansas pissing away their game against Texas Tech. Because I enjoy that a lot. And Brandon J. wonders if Pope will last. I feel like he kind of put together this team with a bunch of dudes that he knew in his prior life as the BYU coach. So is he going to be able to continue to augment his program, or his roster, I should say, the way that BP and his staff have? My guess is no. So if I had to guess, I would think in 2 or 3 years, Kentucky will tire of Pope. I think he'll keep them decent, but I don't think he's going to be like a BP type person. So that's that. Also, Chip was mentioning about trying to call in. I don't know if you saw this, but I think the day. Did you see that girl's calves? Holy shit. Yeah, that wasn't actually her. That's a stunt double, my man. That's not your mother. That's a man, baby. Skype announced yesterday they were going to be going, like, basically dead. Like, Skype's not going to exist in 6 months. I think it's by May. There will not be Skype. So one of you guys is going to have to help me figure out how to get the phone lines working when Skype goes dead. I use Skype during football season to take call-ins, right? We do this all the time. It's part of our ethos. Well, if Skype goes bye-bye forever, how am I going to get calls? I don't know. CJ says rumors. No, dude, I think that's 100% going to happen. I think that's a done deal. So I don't know what we're going to do on that. We have to figure that out. I bet you somebody out there can help me on that and figure it out. Maybe we can use like a Google Voice, some bullshit like that, or like Zoom or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I got to get it figured out before football season because this is critical. Jordan asks about nuggets from the football complex. No, I don't really have anything to tell you on that, except that we're just praying for Hugh Freeze. And that, hold on, I do have a few. Keldrick Falk. He looks different to me. He's definitely like thinner, and they're definitely aiming for him to be more of a quick twitch guy, which I think he's got in him. You know, he kind of almost became almost like he was headed toward a power side of defensive line play, and I think he's going to switch back to being kind of a lightning guy, which is going to be good. And also Bobby Jamison Travis. I saw him in the complex Monday or Tuesday, and he's a specimen now. He looks good. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be good just because you look good. But I thought he played better last year, and I would not be surprised to see him be a guy that really makes a difference. I was disappointed in Isaiah last year, and I feel like maybe Bobby can be better than that. Now, the threshold's not really high there, but I think he could be helpful. All right, so Chris M is going to check out some alternatives to Skype for us so I can have a phone number line. Like I can have a number. I can give people a number, and they can call it. That's what I'd really like to have. And it's also got to be one that works with my application that I use. Now, I am open to switching to OBS if we got to do it. And I will also check with the people who use this application, which is called Ecamm. and see what they're talking about, because I'm sure this is a big topic of conversation in the ECAM circles. So we'll see what they're doing there. All right, guys. So I will see you guys again Tuesday night, 8 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. That's going to be the Auburn at Texas A&M game on ESPN, main ESPN. And we will reconvene then, and then we will start planning out how we're going to dominate the world during the next 3 weeks. All right? So anyway, enjoy your Saturday. I plan to, I don't know, hang out and enjoy it. But appreciate you guys being here with me and making the show great. And the Auburn Tigers, piece of the championship already, and we'll see how this Alabama game goes, if they can get their hands on the whole thing by themselves. Of course, until then, I will see you guys later. Appreciate you again being here. Till next time, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and I will see you Tuesday night. Peace and love.